Okay, we're right back. Come on in, hit the like button, brothers and sisters. Hit the like button. This is where we'll be doing our blogs going forward. So make sure you subscribe. There's a lot of good things coming down the pipeline for G.O.C.C. Media. Let's pick it up from where we left off at now.
Verschifft. Oder sie werden durch die Sahara nach Nordafrika getrieben. Viele sterben schon bei den Überfällen auf die Dörfer, viele an den Strapazen des Transports. Wer auf den Sklavenmärkten ankommt, wird kastriert. Laut Ndjaye überlebt nur einer von 5 diese gefährliche Operation. Die grausame Prozedur trifft alle, die Männer, die auf Plantagen oder im Bergbau schuften, ebenso wie die, die im Haushalt arbeiten oder die Harems bewachen. Diese Eunuchen findet man noch Anfang des 20. Jahrhunderts.
Die Araber und die Nordafrikaner waren Rassisten. Sie verachteten die Schwarzen. Deshalb wollten sie nicht, dass sie in ihren Ländern Kinder zeugten. Das erklärt, warum es dort heute keine starke schwarze Diaspora gibt wie in den USA, die eine Aufarbeitung dieser Geschichte fordert und eine Wiedergutmachung.
An die Sklaverei der Europäer wird auf der senegalesischen Insel Gorée erinnert. Hier wurden Tausende eingepfercht und nach Amerika verschifft. Solche Erinnerungsorte forderten Ndjaye auch für den brutalen Menschenhandel der Moslems. Der ist für ihn ein Völkermord, denn ein Volk von Kastrierten kann keine Nachkommen zeugen und stirbt zwangsläufig aus. Die Versklavung geschah übrigens im Namen Allahs.
Der Koran hat die Sklaverei niemals unterbunden. Im Gegenteil, es gibt viele Stellen im Koran, die die Versklavung von Nichtmuslimen empfehlen. Und im Gegensatz zur Ächtung der Sklaverei im Europa der Aufklärung gab es nie auch nur einen arabischen Intellektuellen, der sich je für die Sache der Schwarzen eingesetzt hat.
Im Sudan rufen die Araber schon im 7. Jahrhundert den Dschihad, den heiligen Krieg gegen die Schwarzen, aus. Noch heute werden hier Tausende von ihren eigenen Landsleuten versklavt. Viele Afrikaner beten in Moscheen, obwohl ihre Vorfahren im Namen des Islam geknechtet wurden. Über Jahrhunderte wurden afrikanische Könige gezwungen, sich dem Islam zu unterwerfen und noch dazu Sklaven als Schutzgeld auszuliefern.
Durch die Islamisierung wurden die afrikanischen Könige zu Mittätern. Wer sich dem Islam unterwarf, konnte der Versklavung theoretisch entgehen. Wer kein Moslem werden wollte, sollte gezielt gejagt werden. Das war der Grund für die Kollaboration und das entfachte viele Kriege zwischen den afrikanischen Völkern.
Die Europäer schauen bis ins frühe 20. Jahrhundert zu. Obwohl sie den Menschenhandel längst verboten haben, dulden ihn die Kolonialarmeen vor Ort. Ein Zentrum des schmutzigen Geschäfts ist die ostafrikanische Insel Sansibar. Hier landen die Menschen nach dem Verbot der Sklaverei in unterirdischen Verliesen. Den berüchtigten Tipu-Tip macht der Menschenhandel zum zweitreichsten Mann Sansibars. Noch nach 1920 schuften Sklaven auf den Plantagen der Insel. 13 Jahrhunderte Sklaverei aufarbeiten. Dafür gibt es offenbar weder in Afrika noch in der islamischen Welt Bereitschaft.
Es gibt eine Solidarität zwischen den Afrikanern und den Arabern wegen der gemeinsamen Religion, dem Islam. Man zieht es vor, über diese schmerzhafte Geschichte nicht zu sprechen. Man richtet die Aufmerksamkeit lieber auf die Schuldigen, die alle schon kennen, die Europäer und die Amerikaner.
Tidiane Ndjaye will das nicht hinnehmen. Weder als Intellektueller noch als Enkel eines senegalesischen Königs. Und auch nicht als Muslim.
Christian men who refused to submit to the Islamic movement have been imprisoned, beaten, and oftentimes mutilated.
Those Christians who refused to convert to Islam was beaten, stricken, and even mutilated. Folks, this is Africa. This is Arabs. We need to get out of this thing saying the white man. Ishmael have done even worse, just as worse.
Others have been hung, nailed to trees, or drowned in the river Nile.
I must admit that I too, among hundreds of millions of educated people, was under the impression that the African slave trade was the sole responsibility of the Christian Europeans, the white race. That is, until I started exploring the subject in greater depth, and especially after reading an incredibly enlightening book called The Legacy of Arab Islam in Africa by John Alambila Azuma. My whole perspective and understanding has changed dramatically, and I would like you to tell us more about this subject.
The success of Mohammedan Islam in deceiving, misinforming, deforming and contorting both history and reality over a period of almost 1400 years has been astounding. That is, until now. The greatest tragedy about this particular subject is that most of the descendants of African slavery, the black people in the Americas, around the world, as well as among the African blacks, are totally ignorant of the actual facts. Before we lose the concentration of our listeners, I would like to make the following statement and then prove it. That the worst, most inhumane and most diabolical institution of the black African slave trade was initiated, refined, perpetrated and implemented by the Mohammedan Arabs and later aided and abetted by the black converts to Mohammedan Islam. I predict that, as usual, the two subcultures, those of denial of facts and of political correctness, will attack us without once disproving a single statement and or conclusion that we make. Slavery was not created by the white races, because it has existed throughout human history and practiced by every tribe, culture, civilization, racial group and religion. In fact, the very word slavery has its root in the name Slav, based upon the Slavic peoples of Europe who were subjugated by other Europeans. It is not common knowledge that the Arabic word abd is synonymous with the meaning of slave. For example, Abdullah means literally the slave of Allah, and that in the language of the Arabs, all black peoples are called abid, plural, for slaves. While much has been written concerning the transatlantic slave trade, surprisingly little attention has been paid to the Islamic slave trade across the Sahara, the Red Sea and the Indian Ocean. While the European involvement in the African transatlantic slave trade to the Americas lasted for just over 3 centuries, the Arab involvement in the African slave trade has lasted 14 centuries, and in some parts of the Mohammedan world is still continuing to this day. Systematized and religiously sanctioned slave trade on a massive and global scale. In fact, the Quran allows the taking of slaves as booty or reward for wars of aggression against any and all unbelievers.
Now, folks, mind you, they come to our country with that belief of Muhammad. What belief do they come to our country with, the Western world? Let's hear it again.
Across the Sahara, the Red Sea and the Indian Ocean. While the European involvement in the African transatlantic slave trade to the Americas lasted for just over 3 centuries, the Arab involvement in the African slave trade has lasted 14 centuries, and in some parts of the Mohammedan world is still continuing to this day. Systematized and religiously sanctioned slave trade on a massive and global scale. In fact, the Quran allows the taking of slaves as booty or reward for wars of aggression against any and all unbelievers.
Hold up.
Christian boy.
So it's allowed under the Mohammedan codes, according to Islam, to use slaves for nothing. You can steal them, kill them, and use them as booty, which is really spoil. That's within the codes of Islam. And folks, do not that show out in our community when they come over? This is why, that's right, they'll come over, set up stores and shops and all those things and bring their family, because we're nothing more than booty to them. According to not just, their personal thinking, but it's rooted in the Islamic belief that the majority of, like the slave trade that Esau practiced, was perfected through the Arabs. Why? Because the Arabs had something different opposed to white people. They were able to convert and force black people into Islam, okay, during the time of the Crusades, and use them as Moors to convert others into their destructive ideology. The white man looked at that and said, "Oh, now that's cold how you doing that." It's one thing to have a race war. It's another thing to convert a people and have them fight the war for you. The same people you've destroyed has now become infantry in the army against their own people. Whoa. Oh, yo, hey, this is how, hey, Elder Lawya. Now, this is how you premiere a channel.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What say you before I bring in Elder Gabar and of course, and you know I have a lot of stuff to show here.
I'm going to pass it over to Elder Gabar. I know he's probably chopping at the bit to come in, so I'm going to pass over to Elder Gabar. I'll come in after him.
Okay, now I have a lot of clips, but before I go in, again, October 31st, the Hebrew and Bible Academy, go to historytimes.org, where we're adding new lessons, folks. New lessons. Finding the Ark of the Covenant, as well as, that's right, the tribulation in the wilderness. Folks, after traveling throughout the countries and going out and setting churches all over the place, I understand what the Most High talks about when he speaks about rebels and how no matter what you do for people, they'll turn on you and all that. Hey, get ready for a ride. Get ready for us being in the wilderness and the road there to be destroyed in the wilderness, folks. I'm going to be talking about that. I'm going to be talking about that in the Hebrew and Bible Academy. You don't want to miss it. Go to historytimes.org and let's bring in Elder Gabar. Hold up and help. And of course, we're going to talk about how they manipulated us through the media. Through the media. Hold up. Let me get Elder Gabar Yasha'Allah in the house here. All right. Okay, that's him. 1 second. All right. All right, Elder Gabar, are you with us? Okay, I'm waiting here. Elder Gabar, are you with us?
Shalom, Elder. Can you hear me?
Oh, Elder Gabar is in the house. Okay. All right. This is how we're gonna do it, because I want to make it nice. I'm gonna put both of you here because I'm gonna bring the video up so all of us can see it together, right? So, even though I'm hosting, I'm gonna minimize myself here, right? Put myself up there, and I'm gonna have both of the elders live premiering on G.O.C.C. Media. Elders in the house.
All right, we live. Yeah.
Go ahead, Elder Gabar. The floor is yours.
Well, Elder, I think it's what, I wonder if what happened to us as a people would have happened to another set of people, where they would have been at now, right? Because, okay, we'll look at like historical history, we got the, Hitler with the Holocaust, we got when the United States dropped the bomb in Japan, and we see reparation given to those nations, right? I think Japan got some reparations because they began to take all Japanese Americans and put them in some jail and prison because they didn't know who was a spy or what have you. Then they seized their homes, their business, and so forth, and they got some form of reparations, right? You got the and the thing, the World War II, I think it lasted about 5 years. I think it was 5 or 6 years. I forget. Then you got the Holocaust, and with the Germany and things of that nature. I'm trying to think of any other event, but if you're dealing with cause and effect, right? And we clearly saw effect or cause. Then the effect was reparation for the Ashkenazi Jewish community. They got a piece of land in Israel. They got even to this day, Germany and other countries that was complicit with Germany still have to give some financial assistance to Israel. To this day, Japanese that got affected from when they began to take their property in, state they could get not their property back or the equivalent of that. I wonder if it wasn't us going through the slavery, under the Islam community, under the European community or people, if we would have gotten true reparation. And we're going to use, what happened with the Jewish people, what happened in Germany, what happened to the people in Japan. And I'm not knocking them for expecting reparations for what happened to them.
Yeah.
But I wonder what can, given to the history, what will be a proper reparation?
See,
and it's almost on you can't even put a dollar sign on or a scenario. And I think the most I set it up that way because really the proper reparation will be give back the children of Israel the entire planet because God has appointed a God-chosen people as to be his ambassadors. And I think he set it up this way to say, okay, this is the proper reparation. It says, you guys didn't want to give the people a piece of land, give a people, right now, the United States of America has the ability to give every descendant of slaves, okay, a piece of land, 22 acres. You just start with 22 acres. Oh my God, let's go with the 15 acres, acre and a mule. Right.
Yeah.
But if you calculate that in interest, it'd probably be a few hundred acres, right? Just give them what's proper, what they promised us, okay, and so forth, so on. It could change things around, with land ownership and things of that nature, and proper. And not only dealing with that, what happened to all the money they stole from Africa? If you just deal with, it will be within the trillions. But I wonder what would have happened if it was Chinese people that has happened to Polish people or Russian people or Italian people or Arabic people.
Yeah.
So I think what is happening is that we need to understand that this is really a double standard when it comes to when people of color, and this is it's not a United States problem, it's a global problem. You got the brothers over there in India, the untouchables. You got the brothers all over in China getting prosecuted, getting blamed for COVID over there in China, getting beat up in Iraq. This is a global phenomenon.
Yeah.
Wherever you go in every country, there's black people. All you gotta do is where's the ghetto, and that's where we at. So this would be and at this point, I'm tired and I'm moving on from asking our enemy for reparation. We're gonna do it ourselves. And let God judge them, not you with that.
Yeah.
And let God judge them.
Yeah, it's like this, man, right? And I'm glad you brought up that point. I wasn't thinking about the reparations piece, Elder Gabar. But one thing that stands out, what's so heinous about these other people? What's so heinous concerning what was done to these other people, where they would leapfrog the transatlantic slave trade? How can the Japanese being put in internment camps until the war was over supersede the transatlantic slave trade? What made them look at the Japanese and say, or even Hiroshima and Nagasaki?
Mm-hmm.
Like they can look at that and say, you know what, let's leapfrog an entire black Holocaust of biblical proportions.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even listen, the Holocaust, the Jewish people, whatever. Listen, they are in enough power to keep that on the conscience of people, keep it on the consciousness of the minds, to show people why there should be some level of sympathy and reparations for them. Okay. We're not saying that they shouldn't get anything. If someone treats you a certain type of way, that's right. There should be restitution. How can everyone politically leapfrog us? That's the question. And you know what I hate more so than everything? And I'm going to show you how we got here, Elder Gabar. And I'm going to keep all this through. I like this, the way this looks. What makes me sick concerning all of this when it comes to that, right? They politically tell us or shape the ideas of what our community should receive. They'll talk about stuff that we're not even concerned about. Mm-hmm. The same time Ice Cube was talking about reparations, they was talking about black women and child mortality. Child mortality, saying that children are disproportionately die at birth with blacks opposed to any other race. Mm-hmm. When that wasn't the issue. You give us what belongs to us and we'll make sure we set up our own hospitals that will assure our children are born without having to suffer and be assailed by whatever you trying to give them. We can fix our own child mortality. So they would just create stuff. I think blacks, we start talking about politically what should happen for our people, and they'll start talking about there should be protection for trans people. What the Hades? They never pull out an LBGT when it comes to Jewish people, mm-hmm. when it comes to Asian people. Uh-huh. Soon as our people, Elder Lawya elders, start talking about what belongs to us, you want to pull out someone's sexual desires and to protect them to have to be intersexual. Right. So who is these people framing the narrative for what they claim our people need? And then above all, they, going back to the original premise, because I'm gonna pull it up, they make the subculture the voices for our people. Nicki Minaj, hold up, Joe Biden sat with Nicki Minaj before Ice Cube. What's that about? Fresh off the WAP song. Okay. Why is that? Why did not people push back and say, what's wrong with this picture? And ask, what's wrong with this? Mm-hmm. Where was the black man? The only black man that can represent us politically is a gay man. Mm-mm-mm. So I'm going to show you why. I'm going to show you how they manipulate us, folks, through media. And this is why. And I hope all of you will follow suit, folks. If anything comes on concerning death, any medication, anything, if I see it on TV, I'm muting the TV. Why? I like some of the scenes they have with people walking down the street, holding hands, swimming, jogging. And I just look at the scene, but I'm not going to allow them to invade my mind and influence my subconscious with death. Take this. If you have this issue or that issue, eventually you're going to come down with one of those issues through suggestion. So I understand the power of media and its control by doing what? Entering the subconscious. The Most High elders have made the brain so great that everything it sees and hears is filed. Mm-hmm. Even though you may forget you've seen it. If you think hard enough, you'll be able to recall it because everything that comes into your conscience is recorded. The greatest hard drive ever known in all creation is the brain. So even though I'm not paying attention to that commercial and I may be chopping onions, if I'm hearing it, it's coming into my subconscious. Mm-hmm. And we must protect our what? We must protect our temples at all time, including what subconsciously goes in it. Now, if there's a scene and they try to sneak a gay scene in, you know what I'm doing? I'm turning it off. Straight up. Even if I see a woman look at another woman wrong, or if a guy look like he's about to get in an elevator and do something uncomely, I'm turning it off. I don't care. Because why? You're not going to take 5% of the population, which is 5 out of 100 people of our population, and put it on TV as if it's the norm. When if you was going to do it unbiasedly, if you was going to do it according to the numbers, we shouldn't see a scene like that. If you're going to show it, you should show it. It should dictate real life. If you're going to show it, it should be 5% of the time. And if you did show it 5% of the time, I would still turn it off because it's against the moral code.
Exactly.
Society, every society was taken down when they began to what? Unravel that society at its moral fibers. When you begin to untangle the moral fibers, the whole culture falls. And it's upon us to stand with our children and say, you know what? What you intake means something. Everything isn't a joke. Everything. And that's why I love, you know what? And I'm going to do privately. I'm going to do, and I need us to come together. We're going to do together just because, let me tell you, this was one of the most journalistic, I would say, intellect pieces of our time when it comes to art. If you're going to value something artistically, and that's the Dave Chappelle closer. We're going to talk about that later, but I'm going to show you how they were able to convince us to eventually have subculture become the voice for our people. And it's time for us to push back and say, you know what, Don Lemon, get the Hades out of here. You don't represent me because you're immoral. Black Lives Matter, that's a political Marxist agenda to destroy society. And they would rather destroy society than give God's people what's owed them. Black Lives Matter not at all. They don't represent us. So let me pull this up real quick, elders. Stick with me.
And you read my mind with the Dave Chappelle. I was waiting for you to complete your statement because I want to bring in the Dave Chappelle, but you beat me to it. That's a good example of with regard to Dave Chappelle complaining about that. Here you have the gay movement and the transgender movement. Really, more of the transgender movement. The gay movement is more is much more ancient in regard to time, or in regard to protesting and being wanting to be recognized. The transgender is a fairly new movement. I think in the last 10 years, they have surpassed the black movement in regards of getting accepted. Now we got bathrooms that we got schools now that need to accept these children to go into the bathroom they prefer. And by the way, Elder, there was a case that you have a teenager who's kind of gross, teenager transgender person actually raping a woman, a girl.
Are you kidding me?
And yeah, I want to show you the article. And the father went to the school and he got arrested because he wanted to go and raise some hell. And I'm going to show you the article. They covered it up because they're trying to pass these laws and they don't want to demonize it or what have you. But I'll send you the article. Hey, that's what's going on.
It's all coming out. The highest numbers of domestic abuse is amongst the LGBTQ community. That's a fact. And they suppress that. They suppress it. But I digress, right? I digress. One thing Dave Chappelle said, he allowed us to have the conversation that it stood out. That the baby, a rapper, is now being ostracized for his opinion. He's free to have it, whether you agree with him or not. He shouldn't be canceled for an opinion. So Dave Chappelle said he was once arrested for killing a black man. Now, mind you, it was self-defense, but he could kill a black man and still be popular throughout the earth, right? And make generational money for his family for killing a black man, but can be canceled for offending a gay person with words. So who's more powerful? Where you can be congratulated and incentivized for killing a black man, you'll get street cred, and now everyone loves you because you killed a black man. To show you show you the less worth of a black man. You could be celebrated with what? Record deals and everything else, and no one will say nothing. Why? Because you're supposed to think that that the best black man is a dead one. Look what they did to Christ. You're supposed to think that. But if you offend a gay person, your career is over. What's wrong with that picture? You didn't hit a gay person. You didn't harm a gay person. They just didn't like your words, and you're canceled. And I don't want to hear no one talk about that R. Kelly crap no more, because the Mann Act was actually put into place in the 1900s, the early 1900s, to keep white women from running over the tracks, marrying big black men.
It was that boxer,
Joe Jackson.
Yep.
Jack Johnson.
Yeah. Jack Johnson. Excuse me, Joe Jackson. Jack Johnson. All those white girls was running to that boxer. He was knocking cats out, and they created a law to stop white women from dealing. A white woman would run across the tracks to deal with a black guy, and white people deemed that sex trafficking, which is a shame. And let me say this. And they keep on bringing up underage girls. Well, why didn't they charge him with underage girls? Why didn't they charge him for that? Why did they go this sex trafficking crap? Because it's the law they use when they have nothing else. And they're taking $1 billion catalog away from that man's children. That's why. And that's the only reason I would stand, not for R. Kelly, but where's R. Kelly money that goes to his children? His children don't deserve Jewish people and other people in the corporate world to spend the money their father labored for them. I'm not for R. Kelly. Where's his money? His money belongs to his children. That's what I'm standing for. And our people will sit back and allow these guys to rob this guy blind. They don't care about no black girl. They don't care about young girls. They got young girls. What do you think Epstein Island was about? You think they shut down that island? But I digress. Come on, Elder Gabar. I'm sorry.
Yeah, just Google this, anybody. Laws that were created because of racism towards black people. Let's go down the list. Marriage license was created after slavery to stop black men to marry who they want. To make it a situation, because prior to that, during the time of slavery, marriage was a thing between the village or the community and the church. There was no record to be officially considered to be married, in regards of marriage. Then you got the Jack Johnson laws that you can't go from one state to another to have a relationship with a woman, or some crazy scenario, right? Now within sports, when basketball players, when African American began to come in, the tribe of Judah began to come in, they had to change certain rules because of us. So if you look at the history of laws that we are now saying, why is this thing even established and so forth? And once they recognize there was because of racism and bias towards our people, they don't eradicate those laws. They just hold them on to them until they could, use them again for R. Kelly or another brother who's getting caught up with some madness. So I think we have to realize the hypocrisy of a lot of these laws. Look at how many brothers, and I'm not for or against, I'm not for hemp and things of that nature. You know how many brothers in the 80s, in the 90s got locked up for just having an ounce of marijuana now is legal now. You can walk around with it. It's all these laws, the 1, 2, 3 strike laws. All these laws are catered to lock up and jam up our people, and no one is really talking about these things. Yeah. No one is suggesting these things, and he's keeping on in the back burner until they need it again to find some justification. So I yield with that.
And so let's go now. I'm gonna tell you right now, man. I'm gonna tell you right now. And we look at the guys in the conscious community. I mean, what's going on here? I mean, these guys are running loose. You got Dr. York, who's known for whatever he was doing. I'm just saying. But these are the guys they push in front to stop the morality and the steam that comes with what? Our people believing in the Bible. Mm-hmm. You know what what the greatest lie that came from the conscious community was? And guess what? Let me tell you. Brother Polite make R. Kelly look like Raj from Good Times. Mm-mm-mm. Okay? Raj was a good guy. And this guy running around doing, just like his daddy, running around doing all types of wickedness, stealing and robbing. And you know what their claim of fame? You know what they would always use to try to lure our people into Satanhood? Here's the Bible's tampered with. Mm-hmm. King James was a white homosexual. White homosexual? When did the conscious community ever have problem with homosexuals? Especially with a leader by the name of Dr. York, who was having sex with little boys and girls.
Mm-hmm. The dude got like about 200 kids running around.
Yeah, but I digress.
Hundreds of people, and it's almost like it's almost as if the people that you would not be allowed in the church.
I mean, yeah. Make it clear. Hold on, make it clear. I was wrong. Raj from what's happening. Right. Raj from what's happening. Yeah. I was going to say Michael from Good Times, but you know what I mean.
Right.
Polite. Make R. Kelly look like Michael from Good Times. Now, I got it correct. Now, let's go into the history of media. How they was able to manipulate us since films came into play. Elder Lawya, narrate the first clip for me, please.
Yes, sir.
The first clip. What is this? Because you got them all together for me, and let's go through them.
Right. This is called Cotton and Chick Watts Blackface Minstrel Show Comedy. This is a white man in blackface along with a white woman performing a comedy routine.
Now, how long ago was this, Elder Lawya?
Man, I want to say I don't have the date on this. I want to say the 1940s, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Maybe even the 30s, but I don't have the exact date on
this is in the 30s, brothers and sisters. Check it out. We're going to show you the introduction of black people to the masses to shape the idea of how the population of Americans should view black people. And guess what, folks? And I don't know if there's a coincidence. Maybe that it don't have nothing to do with it. But the majority of, if not all of the studios in Hollywood and others were created and ran by Jewish people. Now, I don't know if there's any reason behind that. It's just so. Maybe they just like films. But let's see what they were pumping out, their productions. Let's see how this goes.
Now, two quiet people, Cotton Watts and Chick.
Fair use. This is a white guy dressed like a black guy with blackface.
Lady, let that be a lesson to you.
What's the matter with you boys shooting up that man's hen house?
I'll shoot any chicken trying to follow me home.
Well, why don't you get a job and go to work?
You almost had me a job this morning.
Where?
Whoa! This is when they didn't want to play, This is when they didn't want to pay black people, a few shekels, why do that when you can just, put on a little wig, fair use?
I went down to the post office and asked that man, could he let me have one of them jobs as a letter toter?
No, Cotton.
Now, this was before Ice Ice Baby, folks.
You mean a mail carrier?
And the man said before he could give me a situation, he'd have to put me through a simple self-examination.
No, stupid. You mean a civil service examination?
She said, no, stupid. Oh, folks, this used to be the TV our grandparents watched.
Situation, he'd have to put me through a simple self-examination.
No, stupid. You mean a civil service examination?
Well, a man carried me in a little room and set me down and started asking me a gang of questions.
Well, what'd he ask you?
First thing the man asked me is, how far is it from the sun to the moon?
He asked you how far it was from the sun to the moon?
Yeah, that's what the man asked me.
Well, what'd you tell him?
I told him if he was going to give me that route, I didn't want the job.
Well, tell me, how would you like to go to work for me?
Yes, ma'am. How much you gonna pay me, I hope?
Well, let's see now. I'll pay you all your work.
No, ma'am. I got...
There you go, folks. Hollywood at its finest. Oh, yeah. Some great... Hey, this guy giving Denzel a run for his money.
I have some money.
You know, Cotton, I'm making a picture called The Lion Tamer.
The Lion Tamer? There ain't but one kind of lion.
And Elder, you know what's funny?
What kind's that?
What's that, Elder?
That even now you have many, black and Latino actors that before they make it, if you look at even Denzel, if you look at even what's his name, Samuel Jackson, for him to get started in the industry, a lot of them had to play pimps, drug addicts, drug dealers, right? Before Denzel was, the leading man, before Samuel Jackson was with Marvel, the Avengers. Every movie you used to see Samuel Jackson, he was a crackhead, right? Go back to the days in the early '90s, right? Jungle Fever, crackhead. What was the other movie? Every time you see him, he was a crackhead, and they had to play these roles to get, to eventually, to get these type of, mainstream movies that now they be playing, Nick Fury in the Avengers. Right? Before Samuel Jackson was Nick Fury, he was your local crackhead actor, playing that role. And I think they do that by design to filter out the people that are self-respected and say, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to play the crackhead. I'm a Shakespeare actor. I went to school for this. I studied my craft.
Oh yeah, So
it's a system that that try to rule out the people that they won't be able to be compromised.
Okay, right on point. One thing I want to say, Elder Gabar, speaking of that, so let's check out real quick the current day blackface, how they was able to do it tethering, using our own people now, but it's really the same agenda, right? Check this out, folks. Look at this here.
And while you're pulling it up, if I can mention real quick, just off the back of what Elder Gabar just stated, the perfect movie that encapsulates and captures the spirit of, as you stated, having to play these certain roles in order to get into Hollywood and to eventually work your way up, but starting off as pimps and crackheads, drug pushers, prostitutes, and things of that nature. The perfect movie that encapsulates that is Hollywood Shuffle.
That's deep.
Check out that movie.
Yeah, I'm gonna check out Hollywood Shuffle. Oh yeah, we just found out that yes, this channel do receive super chat. So if y'all want to donate and y'all like what's going on, y'all can do it on this channel. I didn't know. I just seen it there. All right, so let's go now. Let's go. How do they do it today? Billy Porter. This is how they use people who really don't have any talent to come in and misrepresent our people to push agendas. Billy Porter reinventing Cinderella's fairy godmother. It's time to shake it up. It's time to shake it up. Nothing is sacred anymore, folks. There go your fairy godmother. How many of your children went to see that crap? This non-talented Satanist. He can sing though. But I know his mother should have been watching him in that choir. Should have watched that choir director, I'll tell you that. But here it is. On today's show, Billy Porter reinventing Cinderella's fairy godmother. Here go your fairy godmother, folks. It's time to shake it up. All right, let's go back now. Let's go back. But they started here. See, if they can misrepresent you from the beginning, right? And notice, elders, they didn't give Denzel Washington an award until Training Day.
Mm-hmm.
He had to play the caricature of the stereotypical bad black cop with all these white cops out here doing all types of evil. He had to become the face of a bad cop.
Mm-hmm.
See? But here it is.
Now when he played Michael
I'm
Max.
sorry. What'd you say, Elder?
He all these great movies that Denzel did. Malcolm X. He couldn't have won an award for that. He couldn't have, I know he won. I think he got nominated for Glory. The slavery movie. I think that was the last time. But he did so much body of work prior to Training Day. Not to say Training Day was not great. And he did a great job. But I'm saying there was all these other scenarios like Malcolm X that he should have been winning an award.
Man, listen, if he don't get an award for Malcolm X, he don't need to get an award. Mm-hmm. Training Day was just the makeup award, knowing that they just straight him and Spike Lee. They couldn't do that. I mean, did he play Malcolm or what? But I digress. Let me show you who's given not only Morgan Freeman, but Denzel a run for their money.
Now, all I want you to do is meet me at the zoo in the morning at 9 o'clock.
Yeah, with the rest of the monkeys.
With the rest of the monkeys.
Yeah, I'll bring my grandpa.
See Lloyd laughing.
I want to get a moving picture of you in the lion's cage.
Well, if you ever do get a picture of me in a lion's cage, it'll be moving all right.
Oh, Cotton, the lion can't hurt you.
Can't hurt me. Well, nobody can make me hurt myself.
Why, the lion's tame. He'll eat right off your hand.
Eat off of your hand and over your leg, too. I know them cats.
Oh, but you don't understand, Cotton. The lion was raised on milk.
Raised on milk? I was, too, but I eat pork chops now.
Oh, shucks now. Hey, I tell you what, man. Now, Elder Lawya, I think we're looking at the making of Nas X in black and white. Hey, go. You know what I mean? Hey, I don't know.
Why, he can't bite you.
No, how come he can't bite me?
He hasn't got a tooth in his head.
I know, but he can gum me to death. I don't want him gnawing on me.
Now, all I want to do is snap you as you enter the...
And you know why we're making fun of this, folks? The question is, where were our leaders pushing back? Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go throughout all history to show you there was never really anyone standing up to push back at a people who saying that they were oppressed, that always showed us publicly in a negative light or in a stupid light. It's always some shameful wickedness they're promoting when it came to us. And folks, this is how Hollywood started. They would always show the white woman as the damsel in distress. The damsel in distress. And then they'll show King Kong, the big black gorilla, willing to climb a mountain and die to save her.
Mm-hmm.
Symbolic.
Yeah, Birth of a Nation, if you remember that movie, that was considered the first blockbuster.
Yeah, Birth of the Nation.
It actually got featured in the White House. And the president at that time said, this is a great capture of history, great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Me as I enter?
Yes.
Well, you better snap me as I enter,
Unbelievable.
because you will.
Go ahead, Elder.
Yeah, and this is the thing, I could go the same topic that we're discussing right now in 2021. I could find people of color complaining about these things in the early 2000s, in the 90s, in the 80s, in the 70s. And you can find an interview, you can find an article, you can find a news clip, you can find a show, you can find whatever. So that if we still complain about the same issues, and it's like this: if you are offending a brother or someone or a race, and they keep telling you that's offensive, and we can still see traces of that in Hollywood. Well, how can you complain when people flip out? And I'm not condoning, the protest during the time of during the time of the lockdown and all that, Black Lives Matter and all that. And I, as an organization, Black Lives Matter, I don't support, but as a concept, I understand it. I can sympathize with it because a lot of young kids now are just frustrated and upset because since the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the early 2000s, even now, it's these same things we're going through and no one is listening.
Yeah. See, but
what you expect for it to happen? Whatever.
Yeah, you're right. They knew it would be they knew eventually our people would be fed up, but then they would give us their only outlet to do what? To change the world politically to benefit themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, they wanted to tear everything down. They knew they were going to shut everything down anyway with a new production, with a new reset. With the new corporate reset. So they wanted black people to tear it up so they can get the insurance for the new reset that they had planned for 2020. So I'm with you. I'm with you, but everything was calculated. They would never let black people just tear something up without shooting them down like dogs. They wanted this to happen so that because when we began to tear down white statues, that opened the door for them to say, well, since we're tearing down white history, let's tear down all history of America, including black history. Nothing is sacred anymore. And then we'll replace it with gay history.
Yeah.
So be very careful when you're celebrating something under a fascist Marxist ideology that destroys a country.
Yeah.
So they played on that George Floyd thing, but at the end of the day, it was politically driven. So that if we're going to tear down white statues, then guess what? If you're willing to tear down history, then all history is gone then. Now even our history cannot be discussed, and the only history we can talk about is if a gay person started it. Like I said, listen, tear it all down if you would like to. But understand, our people fall for the political agendas over and over again, and it's because of their programming. Let me show the next one, Elder Lawyer, elders. Step and fetch. So I hate Black Lives Matter. I hate it. Step and fetcher. Here we go. Now I'm going to ask you all, this is 1934. Has much changed? Fair use. This is fair use for educational purposes only.
My wife and I live all alone in a country called our home. Don't put nothing that this is just like mother and dad. Yeah, I got a spare one of them. Desolate. She read. I ain't trying to tell you what to do, but I just say. Always.
Does anyone know what this guy is saying? And if you want to understand what's going on here, turn on some trap music, okay?
Got it, Tom. Hey!
Percocet. Molly Percocet.
How you expect to do
I'm in love with a cocoa.
to win that croquet
And
game?
Elder, I don't know if you've seen, I may come on tomorrow on the I Am Fit podcast. Check out the Mick Mills new album cover. It's getting a lot of pushback on the situation because it's once again showing our sisters in a negative perspective, using art and music and entertainment to once again continue perpetrating the same negative stereotypes. So I might come on to that after the show with Bishop Amath. We got a discussion on this new album of Mr. Mick Mills.
Well,
Check
you
it
know
out when
what?
you get a chance.
You know what? I'm going to look at that, but you know what? They have a plan for Meek Mills. And Brother Meek, I know you're from Philly. If you're hearing this, brother, man, watch out. They're seeking to R. Kelly you, man. And how do we know that? A woman was interviewed by another sister in Chicago. And this sister says she had a child. It's Meek's, and she was 15 years old when he met her. You can tell that it was constructed. She said she was 15. She was at a party. He thought she was feeling him, and she fell out. So you know what that means. She fell out. It's the R. Kelly story mixed with Bill Cosby all in one, and you can tell that it was constructed for her. So watch out. Here it comes. Well, you're about to receive it. The man act is coming, because you know what? When he's talking about prison reform, hey, let me tell you, he started waking listen, prison is free labor. And America have more black people, more people incarcerated within this country than any other country in the world.
And any time in history. In history.
Yeah. So
there's more people in jail today than time of being enslaved in slavery time.
Yeah. So when I seen the video, I'm like, they dropped it just like they dropped it with that garbage, Surviving R. Kelly. They'll drop it, little fanfare. They'll put it out there because they just what they're doing is they're dribbling evidence out there. And they're going to claim it was all spontaneous and organic. But when I seen that yesterday, I'm like, oh, here he come.
It's coming.
And hey, anyone that has generational wealth and has the same skin like this, watch out. That's all I have to say. All right, let's see the next one. Step and Fetcher. Let's see the cartoon. Let's see 1944. Eliza on the ice. This is what our children were looking at.
Are you ready, Liza? I's ready, Uncle Tom.
I's ready, Uncle Tom. Now, mind you, we have to really find the racial persuasion and religion behind the people who was producing this.
Ready, Liza? I's ready, Uncle Tom.
Universal. This is Universal and Disney.
Who started Hollywood?
Yeah, exactly. Universal and Disney. Let's do it again.
Are you ready, Liza? I's ready, Uncle Tom. Is you ready, Sammy Legree?
I'm always ready.
Now, I hope you heard the diction of the white guy. I'm always ready. Perfect English.
Get on your mark. Get set.
People could hear. I don't know. I cannot hear it in my end, so I don't know if that's But look at these videos. Hear these videos and look at your typical rap song today.
Yep. It's the same buffoonery we're seeing, elders, in the rap game. Promoting buffoonery, shame. But it's one thing for them to do it. It's another thing where you degrade a society to a level where they'll do it for you.
With a lynch over again.
Yep. Hold up. They got the watermelons working. You know, you can't have a black exploitation without watermelon.
Unquote.
Little Audrey, is you reading by that moonlight again? Land 6 child, I was warned and rewarned you a million times. That moonlight makes you have bad dreams.
Oh, I don't believe it.
You is the most disbelievable.
Now look what they was promoting back then. It's a shame. Trying to mock our sisters. Every time they show a sister, it would show a sister like this, speaking like this, overweight.
Leaving, child, I's gonna tuck you in, and you go to sleep right this here minute.
Now, how many times do you see in those cartoons, Mammy tucking a black child in it and reading her stories at night? Him or her stories. Have you ever seen that in any of the black exploitation, in any of the old movies, where a black woman is actually reading bedtime stories and caring for her own children? See, but I'm saying this is because why? It doesn't matter the time. They'll just slide new actors as the time go on into these same slots, these same caricatures. Nothing's changed, folks. Nothing's changed. Hold up. Don't tell me they was able to stop the children from crying with watermelon. That's enough of that. That's enough of that. Oh. Hold up. Tom and Jerry. Man, I love Tom and Jerry growing up. Fair use. Plain dumb. Gene Roddenberry. John Foster. Van Buren production.
If we make this non-stop flight to Africa, we'll be heroes.
Let's get straight to it. Let's get straight to it. The plane crashed.
Wonder how far we is from land. About 20 knots? How come they got knots in the ocean? Traffic and waves gets heavy. When it gets tangled, it makes knots. Look at that. Look at that. I told you I didn't want to go to Africa. wait a minute. Is we in Africa?
I told you I didn't want to go to Africa. Wait a minute. Are we in Africa?
No, we ain't in Africa. Does it look like we is gonna get to Africa? No, don't.
Lawyer, where you find this stuff?
Then what have you got to kick about?
And Elder, I don't know if you know this.
Go ahead.
I don't know if you know this, but years ago, and I'm not defending Bill Cosby, but he actually bought all those racist cartoons.
He did.
To make it, impossible for you to see it. It was very, and things of that nature. So I don't know, dealing with his legal issues, that he had to sell those rights or what have you. But I remember him buying a lot of these cartoons and owning them and for Danny, well, not to be aired. So it's funny now that he's, he got acquitted, but I'm pretty sure he had to pay a pretty penny that you see in these type of cartoons because they were hard to find back in the day, and he was responsible in setting that movement to make sure that these things are not aired or utilized to make people of color, look or make fun of people of color. That don't even need it.
Man, Elder Gabar, it's deep you're bringing that up because people can say what they want to say about Bill Cosby. He spent his life to make sure the image of the black man would be a respectful one.
Mm-hmm.
And see, it's a shame that out of all the work he has done, I'm looking at, I was raised 15th and Diamond before when Temple University was nothing but about 3 buildings and McGonigal Hall, a small basketball area.
Mm-hmm.
And it was Bill Cosby's money that made Temple what it is. And I'm going to tell you right now, he went from the projects, turned some of the characters of North Philadelphia into the Cosby Show. This guy was brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
And then single-handedly changed the image of black people in America everywhere with the Cosby Show and A Different World.
Mm-hmm.
Single-handedly, while the Amalek media was pushing buffoonery, he showed a demographic of black people that we all knew existed, that the media didn't want you to see. Respectful black people. And at the end of the day, it's a darn shame that his legacy is going to be about something when he was be about a time in which there was free love in the 60s and 70s and everyone was popping pills and getting high.
Yeah.
And he's going to be recognized for something he did before the Cosby Show, when everyone else was doing it at Woodstock. He's going to be recognized as what? A druggie who drugged women for sex. And I'm going to tell you right now, folks, when you have the money he have and the prestige he have during that time, the 60s, the 70s, you think he would need to give something to a woman to sleep with her? These white women were lining up for Bill Cosby.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do I excuse his behavior? No. But what I'm saying is it's a shame with him trying to show a right image because there were successful families amongst our community, but the world didn't know about them. They only knew good times, us struggling in the projects.
Mm-hmm.
They only knew happy days where it was just one black guy who was a sidekick someplace that you would hardly see. And the cool people were Fonz. Hey, Laverne and Shirley when I was growing up. The black people were good times, struggling. Or we're moving on up, the Jeffersons, moving on up to the east side. So you had to be someplace else to be recognized as successful. Bill Cosby broke the mold. I'm glad you mentioned that, Elder. Let's get a few more because I want to open up some calls. Scrub Me Mama with the Boogie Beat. 1941. Oh, and I know this is nice. This is modern day trap music. Fair use. Fair use. Look at these names. Alex Lovey, Frank Tipper, Ben Hardaway. Lazy Town Laundry. So who's washing at Lazy Town Laundry? Lazy Town. Fair use. Fair use. Educational use only. Education.
Fight. Take that. You take that. I'll bust your head.
1941, folks.
Lazy town. 1 hour stop for lunch.
Okay, that's a light-skinned sister.
Listen, Mammy, there ain't no way to wash clothes. What you all need is rhythm.
What do you all mean, rhythm?
And see, folks, y'all thought Lizzo was a new creation. We all thought that the caricature of Lizzo was a new creation, right?
I'll show you what I mean. In Harlem, there's a little place where everyone goes to see the way a washerwoman washes her clothes.
If you like boogie woogie rhythm, she's got a beat. Let the boogie woogie washerwoman give you a treat. On every afternoon at 1 the sessions begin, and all the boys from all the bands come down and sit in. They sit around and knock each other out when they play, while the boogie woogie washerwoman washes all day. Rub me up, dub. That's just the way she rubs. Rub me up, dub.
Now, brothers and sisters, I'm going to bring it back to you elders real quick, but folks, have much changed?
It's gotten worse, Elder.
Have much changed?
Listen, I'd rather watch this and compare what was out there now. You know, watch a typical rap video these days. Forget about it. You know, it's insane. You know, it's bad then. It's getting worse now.
Let's see if much changed real quick. Fair use. Let's see if much change. Let's see if much change. Fair use.
You finna online date chat, find a mate chat, open up BOK ass, okay yeah, profile picture looking tight chat, nice chat, got your bio reading right chat, precise chat, but before you find a date chat, you
fair
gotta
use.
wait chat, gotta go vaccinate chat, get it straight chat, girl you look good, want you vax that thing up, you's a handsome young brother, want you vax that thing up, dating real life, you need to vax that thing up, feeling freaky all night, you need to vax that thing up, girl you look.
Has much changed, folks? Have we not been How long will we as a people How long as a people will we continue to be manipulated? Have anything changed? Because why?
Yeah.
You know what? Let me tell you. You know why the Jewish people and others that was behind those studios could do this? They couldn't find actors in droves who would sell their people down the immoral road like this. That's why they had to do blackface and do a lot, because they could get a few people to come over and do that, but there was a such thing called shame in the 40s. See? Believe me, those characters who were playing those stepping fetches, they caught it in society. They couldn't make it within black society and died miserable. Why? A lot of them died miserable because our people shamed them. Real respectful actors and artists said it's people like you that'll make it where our people will stay in this position forever, with gods like you being used by the other side. It wasn't like now for the bag, for the so-called bag, our brothers and sisters will sell their own mother's soul. Has anything changed? You were saying something, Elder?
Yeah, I think it was the more I look at this thing, right? Because you notice you don't see this this movement or this effort on demonizing all the other tribes. And I'm trying to think that's design. And I think the reason why, because the powers that be, they know and they understand this particular scripture. I'm reading Genesis chapter 49, verse 10. It says, The scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet, until Shiloh comes. And unto him shall the gathering of the people be. I think they use Judah in the forefront, much more all the other tribes, because they know that Judah has that spirit of leading the other, not only the 12 tribes or the other 11 tribes, but the entire nation. This is something special in regards that Judah sets trends. And that's why you don't see they're leading that in the Puerto Rican community, in the Mexican community. It's mostly with Judah.
Yeah.
And then go to Puerto Rican rappers. They're acting like black rappers. Go to Mexican rappers. They're acting like, you understand? So we need to start using this understanding and pushing Judah in a positive light and fight fire with fire. So all the other people say, okay, this is an alternative here. We have to make righteousness cool.
Exactly. And see, and that's why I played R.E.I. and Malak's song, The Jungle. I'm only going to promote something positive with a message that will uplift our people. No more of this crap. It's time for us to push back. And Elder, you're right on point with what you're saying. It's time for us to push back. And I'm gonna tell you this right now, Elder Lawya. Let's get a byword real quick. When it talks about a byword in the Deuteronomy, the 20th chapter. It's time for us to. We've been manipulated. Why?
Yeah.
Think about this. They had to recall almost 1 million pressed albums of Michael Jackson when he made a statement, said, kick me, kike me, everyone bite me or fight me, right? Kike is actually what? A degrading word or demeaning word to Jewish people. It was a derogatory term that was placed on them by the Germans. Now, Michael Jackson wasn't calling them the name. He was defending them and saying, well, you call me words, you know what I mean? But I'm going to stand against your derogative politics. So he was speaking for Jewish people. And you know what, elders? They still recalled all of the albums with that on there. Why? Because they know the power of media. They didn't want anyone else to pick up on that word, to even use it negative, even if Michael Jackson wasn't. Right? But they will allow us to use the N-word with impunity. Because they understand the idea of it. The more you say it, the more you desensitize people. And it devalues the word to a point where a derogatory word can become cool, and now even white people can say it. So they understand the power of media. This is why they didn't allow Michael Jackson to say that word, even when the word was being used to defend Jewish people. Tell me they don't know the power of media. Right? When Jay-Z did that song, he said still a N-word, right? And he was talking about how black people should come together and buy up property like Jewish people. Now, he was speaking in favorable terms of how they stick together. They deemed that as anti-Semitic, claiming that what? That he was promoting a stereotype against them. Well, no, he was saying something positive about them. Why did they shut it down at the door? You know why? Because they don't want the idea to get out there that they stick together and that's our downfall. They don't want it repeated to a degree that we begin to look at them and say, you know what? Let's copy them. See, they have gatekeepers that immediately when something come up that's alarming concerning their movements and how they move for their people, they have gatekeepers to put anything in a bag that would stop them. I'm going to ask you, elders, what do we have amongst our community that represent us to protect us that way? That if someone say the wrong word, we can cancel them. We can shut them down. What component amongst our society has that? And if we don't have that, shouldn't we figure out, and you know what? And I'm going to tell you who has it. The beginning. And this is what Christ's gospel is about, the truth, folks. He spoke as a man with having what? A man with authority who made common sense and logic to any scenario to a degree where most people needed to stop and say, you know what? He makes sense here. And this is why I wanted to do this show tonight, folks. To say what they're doing when someone says something anti-Semitic or say something that could actually put a wrong connotation on them. That's called being a watchman. They have turned the media into their watchmen. And the problem with our people, there is none. We're open game. We're open game, folks, to where nothing is sacred amongst us anymore. Nothing is sacred. And guess what? It's time we begin to make shame a word again. And say, nah, there's standards. There's standards. No, you cannot be married operating like that. No, you will not be taken out and being shown chivalry operating like that. And women on the other side say, you're not going to treat me like nothing. And I'm going to set a standard even if I'm alone for the man who would work for me. So it starts with individuals setting standards and saying, well, no, I'd rather be alone than to lower my standards. Someone have to take a stand. You're not going to bring me down in the gutter with you. Shame.
Yeah, standard. And I think what we have to do, Elder, and I've been shouting this thing out in my podcast and I Am Safe podcast, that we have to start establishing a media empire. of our own.
Hey,
we got the numbers, man. We got the numbers. We got the people, and it's time to do it. Absolutely.
No, Elder Gabar, why do you think I switched it tonight to GOCC Media? Let me tell you, I'm going to take a part of that church and I'm going to set up a serious studio where we can have guests. We have guests come in. We can have debates. We can have people come in. Hey, we got our own stuff now, brother.
That's it. That's it. That's right.
You know what?
It's a slide.
We can set up.
Shadow.
Listen, we can set up lights. We can have a production team. We can bring in whether it be political, religion, whatever. Bring them in and sit on the couch and let's discuss it. We have it. We have it now.
It's time to do it. That's right. That's right. Imagine we have a situation that every channel that the G.O.C.C has 1 million subscribers. Every channel has, 10,000, 100,000 views and things of that nature. Now's the time to do it. Is that unity?
Yeah.
What's stopping us is us.
Exactly.
It's us. Exactly. In their mind, they're already willing against us. We already are controlled mentally. If we could start switching things around and stop being scared, thinking that, if we do this, they're going to come against us. So what? We have to create the narrative that the movement is bigger than one thing.
Exactly.
It's the people sticking together. You take one of us.
Exactly.
You go against one of us, you get against all of us. Okay, look at what we did. Shut that down in SOBs when Africa Bambaataa was trying to go out there and perform, being accused child molested.
Yeah.
Huh? Look at when we shut that down. It's power and unity.
Elder Gabar, I see Star from Star Report. I see everyone talking about what happened with Bambaataa, and what they're not telling you. It was the Gathering of Christ Church who went down there and shut that venue down, that changed the law to where that now the statute of limitations of rape, there's no more statute of limitations of rape in New York because we went there and stood and made sure they didn't walk inside that building. But folks, hey, is anyone reporting that? Because it's not about doing what? It's not about paying your arms before men so that all can be seen. But I'm telling you now, it was us with our church who went down there and shut that building down where no one can go into that building, and Bambaataa couldn't perform that night. That's right. And the sister that was behind it, she was there, all of that. And that's what passed the law where and guess who didn't even show up? Poppy didn't even show up. He didn't even show up, and he was the face of coming against Bambaataa. He didn't even show up. We as a church went out there and said, you know what? We as a church under Christ's church is going to stand for the voiceless. And we're going to say, we're going to tell you, ain't nobody going up in that building. And you know what happened? Bambaataa didn't go through the building. It was a Gathering of Christ Church. No one else there. That stopped that from happening. Poppy didn't show up, and even the other guy didn't show up.
Savage, I think it's
Ron Savage. He didn't show up. Star wasn't there. Nobody was there. We went there, and it was shut down, and a law was passed that took away the statute of limitation in New York for children that are raped. That was strictly the Gathering of Christ Church out there. But no, the media didn't write it. And you know what? It didn't matter whether or not the media write it. No one said about it because the Most High knows. And and Elder Gabar, I'm glad you mentioned that. That's why I'm here today on G.O.C.C. Media. Yes, we teach the Bible. Yes, we do all that. But the Bible says we must be able to condescend to the lowest level and have conversations where conversations are being had.
Yeah.
And knowing that everyone initially isn't going to know the Bible or understand the Bible, but they'll know truth when they hear it. And with that truth, Christ says what? Come follow me, put your nets down, and I'll make you fishers of men. With that truth, we're going to put that bait out there and guess what? Catch a lot of fish. And even if you don't believe in the Bible, at the end of it, you will. Ask Elder Gadja.
Yeah.
Ask Gadja.
Yeah. Let me tell you, I think there's going to come a time that the only people that are going to be standing for righteousness is Bible believers. Because now the people that are not accepted in the church or cannot come in as they are or stay as they are in the church are the ones that are controlling down politics, the media, what we see, policy. There's a pastor in Canada. They got arrested, and he's facing like 4 years for, and a judge. This is, and I'm not saying this article is what a judge ordered him that he must apologize and recant everything that he says about freedom of speech and freedom of religion, freedom of not to take certain things if a doctor tells you got to do it, and so forth, because your body's your temple. A pastor is facing 4 years. It's going to come a time we have to take a stand. I think it's time to fight fire with fire. And they are more scared of us than we are scared of them. Trust me.
Let me tell you, man. Let me tell you. You know what? We'll just do exactly what they're doing in reverse. And the whole thing is just like this, Elder Gabar. It's about, I know how to be politically correct. See? So the only thing we need to do is this. The same way they teared up for Stephen A. Smith to knock it out the park for them. Hey, we got Israelites and Gentiles in our church. We'll just tee it up and we'll have one of the Gentiles who've converted to knock it out of the park. We'll tee it up and say, what you got? Hey, Doug, what do you say? Hey, Doug, what do you say about the jab, Doug? You know what I mean? I'm a little hesitant being, but I'm sure I'll tee it up for Doug. I'll tee it up for Steve, and he'll knock it out the park for you. We can do that. We can do a little bit of that for you too. But again, I'm opening up G.O.C.C. media here so that if there's young brothers and sisters with talent, clean talent, like those sisters in Dallas, and brothers and sisters have something that they want to show artistically, it can be right here on this channel. I don't care. One day, listen, we got a lot of time. We can have sisters and brothers whipping up recipes for 30 minutes, showing a dish that nobody know about. Straight clean according to Most High's law, with all organic and no preservatives and no poison in it. How to eat clean. We can take this G.O.C.C. media and listen, we got brothers who are carpenters. How to do certain things, how to design, how to do that. We can use G.O.C.C. media to prove that the kingdom is within us and there's nothing we cannot accomplish as a people. And stop looking on the outside for everything the Most High have given us. They have built this world off of us, proving it was in us. The kingdom was in us the whole time because we built this one.
Because what people need to understand is that, I'm going to use this example. There's a guy, Dr. Kuta. He's a CNN contributor, right? Yeah. And he's pro-jab and everything. He actually called. There's a guy by the name of Joe Rogan. He's a guy that he's in Spotify.
Yeah, I know Joe Rogan.
He's more like an independent thinker. So Kuta, and I know he didn't do this on his own. CNN had Kuta call Joe Rogan to come on the show. And the reason why is because he said, people that watch CNN, they're already converted. They already, are an outsider. They understand what we're saying and agree what we're saying. What we need to do, I want to come and reach over to people that don't agree what we're saying. So now what's happening, this global media empire called CNN is not going to what? Content creators, right? Because they understand that this thing called media, this thing now, it's hard for them to really control the way they used to control it.
Yeah.
So we have to create a scenario among the church of saying that, it's because when you go to the so-called Jewish community, the rabbi controls the community. One rabbi can say, well, for this guy, and everybody does it. Boom. There's power in that. And a lot of people get caught up always criticizing an organization that is run by a black man, and especially a dark-skinned black man.
Yeah.
And I've said this before 1,000 times. We as elders will not be going through the issues we're going through if we didn't have this complexion. Straight up.
Yep.
We have to start saying, listen, man, our organization is not perfect. We're working on it, but we need to stick together and create a system that we're moving together. But in every system, you got the head and you got the tail. You got the shoulders.
Yeah.
You got the torso. You got to know your part. You understand? And then once we create that media so that we have 1 million subscribers, we have a studio, we can do commercials and movies and process music, that they cannot ignore us. They're going to start inviting, wanting to come onto our platform and trying to now say we can't ignore them anymore.
Yeah.
You can't just simply diminish them and dismiss them as insignificant. They're too powerful for us to do that.
Yeah.
And that's what we need to start focusing on. Let's get on.
Yeah. Hey, Elder, I'm telling you, it's like the guy that came on and won that case when they tried to come against him and fire him because he was an Israelite. Let me tell you, quietly, the Most High is moving this work and well beyond us, man. So what I want to do with the media is say, you know what? Positive portrayal of God's people.
Mm-hmm.
Positive portrayal of our people. On top of that, next to that, we're going to show what? Heaven up and hell's down. When someone is showing something that gives our people a bad name, it's going to be hell's down. Not no thumbs up and thumbs down. Heaven's up and hell down. We're going to have moments where, okay, Billy Porter as the fairy godmother. We're going to have something held down. Okay. Satan got 2 laps, Nas X on one and Billy Porter on the other. Okay, this is how we work this thing. Right out. We will not support anything against God's law. And we'll promote a person. We'll promote a person like Kyrie Irving who's willing to stand heavens up for what's right according to God's law. When he's pressured in this world, it's important that brothers and sisters that are taking a stance know that they have support by us. It's important. It's important that when a brother is standing on his morals, his religious morals, and his beliefs, that he has to know out there, even though we don't know you personally, that you have a support behind you. And that's what I want G.O.C.C. Media. And this is what this church has always been, though. We've always promoted and talked about what? All of the things that what? Highlights righteousness according to the Bible. So this is y'all right here, G.O.C.C. Media. And I'm going to, listen, wait till y'all see what's going on in the next Hebrew and Bible Academy. That's all I can tell you. This is the beginning of something way beyond what any of us thought this would be. This is the Spirit of the Most High working in this church. I'm going to tell you that right now. Heaven's up and hell's down. It ain't going to be no thumbs up and thumbs down. Heaven's up. And, people like RuPaul, hell's down. 2 hells down. Okay.
Go ahead. Also, I know before we take, I want to get some calls, but going back into what Dave Chappelle was talking about is that, and this is what the transgender community doesn't understand is that Dave Chappelle is not necessarily attacking that community. What he was saying on his in his show or his special, that he is actually jealous of that community because they have, here you have Jenner become a woman for 1 year. He becomes the woman of the year.
Yeah.
After 1 year. All these women that done great things, that they could have chose, right? But here's a white man, and because what he's saying is the problem he had is with white people, because what he was saying is that this transgender scenario, the reason why they have gone such advancement in regards of acceptance in the community and in government and so forth, so on, and also in policy, is because it's white people pushing these things.
Yeah.
If transgender people were a bunch of only Mexicans and brown people and black people, and there was not one transgender white person in the entire world, they would have not gone that advancement in regards to that's white privilege at its best.
Yeah.
There's surpassing years of struggle of people of color, and now you got laws.
Yeah.
You get arrested.
And
so we have to look at the big picture here. Yeah. And you know, I know he's a little vulgar, but I think he explained it.
We don't agree with everything he said, but there's one thing he said in particular when it came to that. And it was a good question. And the question that we should ask, can gay people be racist? When he asked that question, you know what? That was a groundbreaking question.
Mm-hmm.
Because who's really benefiting from the LGBTQ community? Is it black people?
No.
So when he put that question out there, it had the most, it doesn't matter whether or not you agree or disagree with it. It made you think. If there is a racist white gay person who's using the label of minority to get in a position to take from you the money through your civil rights to exercise greater racism, if that's the case, we should do what? We should divide ourselves on different lines than sexuality.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he was breaking down. You can choose to be whatever you want to be. It's your body. And at the end of the day, you're going to be standing before the Most High with your choices. So I've never had a problem with someone making their own choices as long as they don't affect me or mine. But all in all, the question is, can gay people be racist? And do that make that racist even more dangerous? And see, and that's what he highlighted.
Mm-hmm.
He says, listen, I don't hate you. I don't hate gay people. I'm jealous.
Mm-hmm.
Because here it is. We've been fighting for civil rights since off the slave ships. And all of you can get, y'all just leapfrog black people and all we've gone through to become the #1 protected minority in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
He says, I'm jealous.
And I also want to add, which was really what you brought out.
Yeah.
He's a comedian. And comedians is a small club, right? And he was mentioned about a friend of his or a comedian that was a transgender person.
Yeah.
That went and he actually put him in, you know, as the person to come into, you know, as a warm up
he would open the shows.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he said he did horrible, but he still did it, and he was trying to help him out because comedians are comedians, right? It's like a club. And when he began to do, you know, jokes and so that, and the transgender community began to criticize him, that transgender friend of his defend him, and they went against him to the point that he committed suicide.
Look at that. Look at that. He committed suicide because he was shamed by the LGBTQ community.
And all he was doing, he was defending his friends. They did some straight speech.
Yeah.
It's just good fun. This is a joke, you know, so forth, so on. And they got shot. So that's going to show you, man, this is more powerful than just protecting transgender people.
Yeah.
This is a agenda.
Yeah. And you know what, man, let's go to the calls. But before that, I want Elder Lawya to read that scripture where it talks about becoming a byword.
Yes, sir. Deuteronomy 28, verse number 37.
And I'm saying this is because it's now for us to reel this whole thing back and make sure we check our people. We need to check them when they're celebrating shame. When someone talking about I'm a boss, B, all this other crazy stuff. These are women talking like this.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy saying that that's my N word and all these things. We got to reel this back, because the more we say it, it becomes what? Terms of endearment. It no longer becomes shame. So it's time that because the Bible says, here's the curse. Read that, Elder Lawyer.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse number 37. And thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations, whither the Lord shall lead thee.
We shall become a proverb and a byword, an astonishment above all nations. That's right. We are known as a people. We are known, folks, as a people who accept being called out of their name, starting with us being Israelites.
Mm-hmm.
And people say, well, hey, we've achieved so much because the white man isn't saying the N-word, nigger, publicly anymore. Well, you know why he don't have to say it no more? We are saying it for him. He don't have to say it no more.
Mm-hmm.
We're doing it for him against one another. We have turned a total degrading word that's associated with slavery, degradation. We have turned that into a word of endearment. Mm-hmm. That's why he doesn't have to say it no more. Massa, the old plantation owners would be proud.
Yeah, that's why we have to start changing the languages. We have to use words like make it other words, make those words cool, like beloved, brother. You understand? We have to start creating a movement of positivity and make that cool, make that hip, make that what the young people want to follow. Exactly. And it goes back to that, creating that media that we need to make, support. That's right. Support and subscribe to G.O.C.C. media. We have to do this because this is not about, us getting popular. This is about using what the enemy is using to against them, fire with fire. If they're coming in strong and they got billions of dollars, we need to then work straight 2 times as hard because they got those resources that we don't have.
Yeah.
So we have to, with unity and direction, there's nothing that can stop us.
Hey, man, I'm going to tell you, all those commercials we have for G.O.C.C. Network, I'm turning them to the visuals. We're going to actually be promoting all of the products from people out there. It's about time that we began to support righteous people who want to do what's right. Mm-hmm. The Bible says, where your treasures are, your heart shall be also. What it says about our heart if we continually give the money back to those who are destroying us.
Yeah. Yeah, here we're complaining about YouTube censoring us, but we're on YouTube, and YouTube is worth $1 trillion, not billion. They are so rich, right? They could afford to get rid of somebody like Alex Jones because Alex Jones was making their money. Mm-hmm. Look at his views. He was getting 2-3 million views, and they got him out of it because what's a few million if you have $1 trillion?
Look at that.
It's power, folks. We have to, and so we have to understand is that we have our strength is in our unity.
Yeah.
In our unity.
And Elder, it's deep that you're saying that because how do you think the church expanded to the degree it is today? Mm-hmm. It was because of consistency. And through the good, bad, through the ugly, we stuck together.
Mm-hmm.
We stick together. Yes, we're still a nation in the making. And the Most High is still refining us as gold. There's a lot of things we can do better, beyond any shadow of a doubt. But one thing people can't say is that we aren't consistent and that we didn't stick together. We've all had disagreements.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But our life.
Yeah.
Family argue sometimes.
Yeah. But you know what? The overarching, I would say, the overarching prize and objective have never been compromised through any of our disagreements. Like, listen, I know whatever it is today, whatever it is, but tomorrow I'm going to wake up, it's going to be a new day, and you know what? We'll still be brothers. I'm not going to allow this moment to stop the objective. And see, and you know what? That's a sign of a level of maturity. Usually when you grow up and someone offends you and something happens or whatever the case is, we find reasons to break bonds and agreements. Without realizing, folks, in this earth, you only get a few people. It's not too many people that you can call friend in this earth, in this life. And sometimes we take that word for granted and just break off relationships without realizing the value of it. And I wanted to say that is because that's all a church is. A church is an extended family, starting with Christ, with ups and downs, but still are willing to persevere for the end game. Okay? And that's what it's about, folks. That's what church is. Church, it's not, you're going to have offenses, you're going to have all types of stuff, but you know what? The consistency, at the end of the day, we look back and say, you know what? I'm glad we persevered. Because what? We had no idea what all of this would become. But if you stop plowing, there's no harvest. How many times people will say, well, I'm just going to stop. Okay, if I stop, what am I going to do?
And that's what we have to think like. That's what we have to think like spiritual farmers, because farmers don't have the choice. They got to keep plowing, or they'll die. There's no food. You know, so we have to be in the same line, but we have to be spiritual farmers and keep plowing.
Think about it. This is one of those situations where you can't take your ball and go home.
Right.
Right? I mean, what are you going to do? And this is why Paul said he's a prisoner in this work. Because how can I teach of hell, judgment, and know that we only have one life to live and just walk away from everything? Christ says if you pick up the plow, if you don't carry your burden every day, if you pick up your plow and drop it, you're not worthy of his kingdom. You must carry your plow daily. You're not even worthy. You can say, Lord, I've done it up until this time. He says, listen, I didn't come back yet. And he says also, it tell you in the epistles, some would say that he delayeth his coming. And they'll believe that he won't come because when they thought he was coming, he didn't. And through that, they'll feel they have time and go right back into their old self. Like the 5 foolish virgins. And the Bible says it shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth because they knew they were in a good place and became impatient. They were in the right place. And it's not too many times you get into the right place and say, you know what? I'm right with my family. I'm right with the Most High. If anything happened to me, listen, I feel I'm going to be all right. Not too many times one gets in that place and say, you know what? I'm good. If something happens to me, I feel I'm going to make it. But then it'll come into your mind. The devil will get on your shoulder and think, you know what? This is all for nothing. He's not coming back. And it tell you in the epistles that people will start saying that Christ delayeth his coming. And they'll begin to beat the maid servants and the men servants. They'll go out and do the things that they did in the world, and they'll do that amongst Christ's body. And he said, it tell you, that person It'll be better if he didn't even hear the truth. You can't have the plow and think that you can put it down. Christ seen Calvary. He went through the beatings, the slappings, the mocking, the lying, and you know what? All the way to the crucifix. Not once did he deny the plow, his walk. See? And I see listen, and I see so many people talking about, I used to be an Israelite. I used to do this, do that. Listen, okay, so what you doing now?
So it's not who you used to be, who's who you are. You can't change your nationality, brother.
Think about it, elders. Because at one time, what you're telling me, at one time you had a purpose. That's what you're telling me. Did you put your purpose down? See, being an Israelite isn't a religion. Being an Israelite comes with a responsibility to do something. See? But I digress. All right, let's open up the lines real quick. I'm going to bring y'all right back in and we can answer all the questions together. Y'all don't mind. Let's see. All right. Let me play the song one more again. That's right. The Jungle. Check this out.
Get wild, it's drug, most high, keep straight, alive, oh wow, that jungle, get wild, it's drug, most high, keep straight, alive, that jungle is crazy, that jungle is crazy, that jungle is crazy, that jungle in that jungle is crazy, that jungle. It's crazy, no stress. I'm crazy, that jungle.
Yeah, it's shooting for your eyes. A myth ain't no surprise. How they got you watching movies, you believe that it's
I'ma call y'all back.
A fallen angel dropping people, wish up on a star. Misconceive that it's a demon, lacking knowledge, got them sleeping. The signs of zodiac is an illusion to their ruin. Strong delusion, got them moving in a path of straight confusion. What if everything you was taught up in school was all wrong? What if them things you think is a myth is really true, but all along they put it in your face and got you thinking it's a fiction? When it's real serpent people controlling the whole system. Listen, they dealing with inventions, that's wicked. The Resident Evil army coming soon, no superstition. These phony doctors, warlocks, prescribe you with prescriptions. They shoot spirits up in it and you wonder why you tripping. They hunger, thirst to evil, afflicting, attacking, work destruction, bringing forth the personal world of lies and deception.
Oh wow, that jungle, get wild, it's drug, most high, keep straight, alive, oh wow, that jungle, get wild, it's drug, most high, keep straight, alive, that jungle is crazy, that jungle is crazy, that jungle is crazy, that jungle in that jungle is crazy, that jungle is crazy, no stress, I'm crazy, that jungle.
Welcome to Blog Talk Radio.
I'm a Judah gorilla.
And you'll be able to
wanna
listen to
feel
the
it?
show.
Catch me swinging from vines. Might be chewing vanilla. Yeah, Madagascar, so now you wanna test it. I'm pursuing the scriptures. Tell me who wanna test us. Not a foolish professor. Keep a tool on the dresser. Beautiful like Sarah, keep just like a mule in a heifer. Since we moving like leopards, they refusing to step up. We the Jews by blood. They just oozing some ketchup. In the room playing dress up, but you're not that fly. Revelations 2:9, you are not that guy. Son of perdition on a plundering mission to take souls, take gold, straight wool, bring back everything you sold. It's a jungle, Deuteronomy 28 and 68. Took the slaves of the ways to this place in a maze in a cage. Where we escaped, could you show your left a shame? Yeah, know what I'm talking about?
Oh wow, that jungle, get wild, it's drug, most high, keep straight, alive, oh wow, I'm just, I'm straight, no stress, I'm crazy, that jungle,
that jungle is crazy, that jungle is crazy, that jungle is crazy, that jungle in that jungle is crazy, that jungle is crazy,
no stress, I'm crazy, that jungle.
I'm a Judah gorilla.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Aria. All right, let me bring it back. Let me bring the elders in. One moment. Let me bring the elders in. One moment. Hold on. One second here. Again, let's talk about the academy before we bring the calls in once more. The Bible. Is it hard to understand?
When it comes to reading the Bible, the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that this is the Word of God.
The seals have been broken, and the truth is here.
And when we go throughout the scriptures, when we go throughout extra biblical records, we find that the language that God employed, that He used to create the heavens and the earth, was the Hebrew language.
Christ said, I came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But yet no one, no religious leader, no religious church out there anywhere can now identify the 12 tribes of Israel. Can we? God is quite simple, but it seems as if man makes understanding Him hard.
What are those mysteries?
The truth of your book and the truth will make you free. The Hebrew and Bible Academy, you're invited. Okay, that's right. Hebrew and Bible Academy, you are invited. For some reason, Skype is acting up on that side. All right, for some reason, Skype is acting up, but I'm going to pull it up on this side. It's okay. One moment. Bear with me. Bear with me. Sorry, elders. Somehow it's acting up, so I'm going to pull it up here. I'm going to pull it up on the other computer. Hopefully you all can hear it. Okay, let's do this. United States. I'm going to do it this way.
Blog Talk Radio. Welcome to Blog Talk Radio. Please hold and you will be able to listen to the show.
Okay, I'll do it this way. Okay, you're live on Blog Talk Radio.
Unmuted.
I'm Elder Rawchaa. You're live on Blog Talk. I'm going to just use a different computer. Hopefully you all can hear this clearly. Let's take the first call. That's right. We're going into how our black people have been manipulated through the media. How do we fix this issue? And I believe G.O.C.C. media is a start, but let's talk about it. We've been manipulated. Every other race of people have been able to leapfrog us to get reparations and everything else, okay? And they have incentivized the subculture, the perverted and immoral in our society to represent us politically. And by doing so, they'll be able to use the media and say, well, this is why you people can't get anything. Well, no. We have to speak out against these representatives that are only representing themselves. And first and foremost, come back to the Most High in Christ. And let's represent each other. And you know what? Stop supporting anything that doesn't represent what? God's law. Doesn't matter the color. 618 area code Officer Danny, you're live. Officer Danny, you're live. Hold on.
Shalom, Elder. How you doing? Can you hear me?
Shalom, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
Okay, you're live.
All right. I just was calling. I was watching the show, just listening, and I can't say nothing. You hit on all the points I was gonna hit on.
Well, go ahead. Whatever you got to say, brother. Go ahead.
I just was saying thank you for the lessons. It's all from the Most High. That's how you know when you're in the right spirit, when you talking and you can complete the sentence before you get to it. I just wanted to say thank you to you. Thank you to Elder Gabar, Mr. Come On, and Elder Lawya. So just thank y'all for all that y'all do, and traveling overseas, going around the world, being in the military. I learned a lot, and that's how I know this is the truth. So I just can't wait to be eating them pancakes in the wilderness. And hey.
Okay, and speaking of, so are you overseas now?
No, I'm in St. Louis.
In St. Louis.
I came back from overseas. Yes.
Okay. I wanted to mention this because there's some young brothers running around overseas, and I think in Egypt in particular, calling themselves Nation Family something online. Okay. Now, I want to tell everyone out there, okay, there is no church representation of the Gathering of Christ Church, okay, in that region, in Egypt at all, okay, right out. So if you go, if I'm letting people know, if you get, what they're doing is they're telling people under the cover of night that they were associated with us and they're over there and they're fine. But nah, these people have nothing to do with us, okay, straight out. You got these rogue people who went over Egypt by themselves, never was really up under us, and are doing all these weird things. And what happens, brothers and sisters, when things start getting low, they try to reach out online to connect with people in the United States so that they can actually have to continue the fun with whatever they're doing over there. Okay? So I'm telling you right now, that's no association with our church. Go there at your own risk. The same thing I said about that place in Jordan. But I put it out here first. Mm-hmm. If you go there, that's on you. Don't try to come back later and try to blame us for your choices. Okay? Any people we send out with elders. If you go out on your own, you can say you're fleeing or whatever you want, but you're on your own and guess what? We don't know what you're doing over there, but those brothers aren't in no position to teach anything. And they've never been up under our church like that. So I'm putting it out there right now. There is no leadership in that area. All right? I wanted to put that out there. Thank you, brother. All right.
And, okay. Shalom.
All right, shalom. I'm going to place you on hold. 910 area code. 910 area code.
Shalom, Elder.
Shalom.
This is Elizabeth from North Carolina. This particular topic is on point, and it puts me in mind of two passages in Jeremiah, the 2nd chapter, 13th to the 14th verse. For my people have committed two evils. They have forsaken me, the fountain of living waters, and hewn them out cisterns, broken cisterns that can hold no water. Is Israel a spoiled servant? Is he a homeborn slave? Why is he spoiled? And growing up, we just accepted anything that this man told us. I remember the play Hair. Have you ever seen the play Hair?
The what?
The play Hair.
I can't hear you clearly.
It's a Broadway play called Hair. Hair.
Okay, I heard about the Broadway play Hair, but what about it?
And they had there's this song that it's a chance, pull up the soundtrack to hear and just listen to the soundtrack.
Okay.
And it just degrades us so much as a people.
Okay. Well, thank you. I'll pull that up and take a look at it. Okay.
Well, anyway, Elder, I'm enjoying the academy.
Thank
I'm
you.
learning so much. You, Elder Lawya, and Elder Rawchaa are such a blessing. I always
you.
look forward to it each Sunday.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
And I thank you very much once again for appointing me to the elder out here in North Carolina. He contacted me, so
Great.
we are going to eventually get together.
Praise the Most High.
Good thing.
Praise the Most High.
And I just wanted to thank you for that.
Thank you, and I hope to see you in the next academy. Okay, sister?
Okay.
Thank you. Bless you. There goes Sister Elizabeth. Oh yeah, there's a new set of guys set up, call themselves Guide Family Nation. Folks, I don't know these people, and what they're trying to play on is that we went all over the earth and all that, and these people are now targeting people in our church or anyone that want to leave to sustain them with whatever choices they made. Let me tell you, I don't know these people, and if you listen, whatever, I don't know them. They're not under the guidance of our elders and deacons. So, hey, it's your life. They call themselves God, Family, Nation, or whatever the case is. But, hey, we've warned you. Okay? And we've made it clear, especially with people amongst our church. Hey, so 404 area code.
Hi, Elder Rawchaa. How are you?
I'm blessed by the best, and his name is Ahaya. Talk to us.
Hey, I'm Victoria from Atlanta. I'm really happy you had this topic. We discussed this topic today because it made me think about how, as young people, we always talk about code switching. And until you did this broadcast today, I didn't realize how much code switching was kind of like coonery. It's like buffoonery, because we have to, like, in our mind, we're looking at it like, I can talk a certain kind of way when I'm around my own people, but when I go in corporate America or elsewhere, I got to change up how I articulate myself. And I think that's where that mindset of you're talking white or you're acting white comes from. And it's degrading for us to think that someone else or another race of people can articulate themselves better than us. And when we talk to each other, we can talk to one another using Ebonics and try to take Ebonics and make it like you say, like a terminate, an endeared type of dialect or whatever.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, we turned degradation into terms of endearment. We start glorifying nonsense.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then also I have to catch myself when I'm listening to the music that we listen to, and I find myself, I'm talking about like as young people, and I find myself like, oh, I can relate to this. And I'm like, why can I relate to this? Why am I relating to this? Like, am I really relating to it? You know, like you were saying earlier, if you want to understand what, I guess that character was Buckwheat or whatever his name was saying, listen to trap music.
Yeah, step and fetching. Step and fetching.
Yeah, step and fetch it. And being from Atlanta is really easy to fall into, oh yeah, trap music, Atlanta started trap music, Atlanta is the rap scene, da-da-da. But then when you think about the music that's coming out of Atlanta, it's just like, what? I don't even understand it myself. So yeah, this lesson today made a lot of stuff, it exposed a lot of stuff for me in my mind and helped me going forward.
You know what?
I view things now. So thank you.
Sister, I'm glad you're bringing this out. I know you know, it's good that you being a younger woman, this is your generation, and it's people like you, it's sisters and brothers like you, your age, that gives us all hope. You understand? Because for you to sustain, for you to be able to keep yourself in the midst of this confusion, I couldn't imagine myself growing up in this generation. It's too free, it's too loose. I mean, sin is readily everywhere at your fingertips, and let me tell you, there'll be a reward for you choosing right. Even though you might, a lot of people might think that, okay, there's something weird about you, you're not like the rest. You know what? They say it the same about Christ. And I'm going to say is, please, sister, whatever you do, don't break don't break to the peer pressure. Okay?
Yes, sir. I'm also in the academy.
Thank you. Peer pressure leads to hell. Okay? It's, pressure busts pipes, and when the pipes burst, hell. All right, let me put you. I'm gonna place you on hold. Thank you, sister, and thank you for being a part of the academy. Wait till you see what we're going into the Ark of the Covenant. Wait till you see how we handle this. Whoa, he's gonna be nice. Thank you, sister.
Wait, thank you.
Thank you. That's great. It's so encouraging to see young brothers and sisters in this word, strong in this word. And you know what's a shame when it comes to Little Nas X or whatever that guy is? It's a shame because you know what? The brother is actually talented. I mean, he have taken being used by Satan on a totally different level, but it's a shame. Hopefully he can repent. But I mean, I don't know if dancing on Satan's lap, I mean, I don't think you can get any closer to blaspheming the Holy Spirit than that. But 404 area code.
Shalom. Hello, Elder. Can you hear me?
Shalom. Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. The floor is yours.
All praise be to the Most High. I just wanted to thank you guys for this poignant lesson. It was right on point, and it was definitely in the spirit for this lesson to happen tonight. The Most High just gave me revelation to call in and to I guess add a comment to what was being touched on today about the unification of Israel, and with you touched within Israel and how we gotta come together. And I've been in the truth for about 3 years. Me and my friends, we all went to college, so we came into the truth kind of together, but we split, and one went to a different camp. I of course with you all G.O.C.C, and another went to IUIC. But I think it's pivotal when we come together and we talk about the separatism within Israel, and how can we still be unified and go to the other nations and say, hey, regardless of our differences and discrepancies within doctrine, we are a nation of Israel. We recognize as a nation, and why can't we go to the higher powers and tell them who we are, what I'm saying, and have our own laws. We have our own laws in our Bible, and we have our own code, and we operate as a nation outside of this one world order, and we get recognition from that. And that's just kind of my commentary and position on that.
Hey brother, everything you're saying, believe it or not, it's happening. It's happening. It's happening, brother. I mean, I'm going to tell you, the gathering of Israel will not be televised. So it's happening. It's already happening. And brother, at the end of the day, I know a lot of people are frustrated in saying that, like, a certain leaders that are set up over certain Israelite organizations have individual talents in their own right. They seem like reasonable men. Why can't they come together? And I can understand the frustration because who don't want to? Christ want to see us all together. But the reality of the matter, brother, it's not my path. It's not Nate's from Israelite United in Christ path. It's not Johanna's Israeli School or Church of UPK path. It's not Elder Rawchaa of the Gathering of Christ Church's path. It's Christ's path. And the reality is, once we all agree on that path, we're together. See? And keep in mind, the disciples seen others casting out demons in Christ's name and tried to forbid them. The disciples said, well, hold up, Christ. You can't forbid them. Now, mind you, these were never under the disciples. Now, if they were under the disciples in Christ, that would have been an issue. But these people they never met before. It was like probably remnants of those who was a part of John's baptism, but learned of the Holy Spirit and began to baptize. So the disciples began to say, let's forbid them. We don't know them. And Christ made it clear. There's many of my fold. He made it clear. And he also said, let them alone. If it be not of the Most High, it will come to nothing. So you have to realize sometimes what seems like disunity can be unity because we're operating in areas different than either of us would be operating in. One man planteth, another man watereth, but it's the Most High to give the increase. See that? So I wouldn't be frustrated. I wouldn't be frustrated with all the groups coming together and all that because I know Christ eventually going to thrust us all in the wilderness, and there will be no internet. And at that point, there will be no name. There will be no need for names, titles, or organizations. We'll just be Israelites there. Right? But what I can do is continue to teach the principles of Christ, is baptism, laying on of hands, and all of the things that's within the principles that was given to the disciples. And I'll leave that work wherever we set up a ministry. That's the only thing I could do is to deal with the ministry that was bestowed upon us. My work that must be required. Because don't forget, when it comes to myself or any other brother who was given this work, Christ gave us what? A talent. And he said when he come back, that talent must be multiplied 10-fold, 30-fold, 50-fold, 100-fold. So it's what I'm doing with what the Most High have given me. And each man over any organization has their own lot and responsibility to Christ to do what? To turn that talent into more. Right? So when we get in the wilderness, we'll all be there. There'll be no internet. There will be no organization. No organizations. There'll be no need to have that. It'll be us there with the Spirit of the Most High round about us. And at that time, a judgment will happen. And in that judgment, he will separate the righteous who've been on his path from the rebels, like it once was in the wilderness. You understand? So the most I could do, the most any of us can do is pray for one another's health. And that all of us, regardless of the organizations, endure until the end and meet together to where Christ can look at each individual and say, you know what? Job well done. That's the most we can do at this point. But I'll tell you this right out. If I see any of those brothers suffering in need of anything and I get a call about it, it doesn't matter what their organization is. If I have it, they'll get it. And see, and that's what it's about. And not just them. Pastor Dow. Pastor Dow I believe Pastor Dow is a wonderful brother, a great spirit. Him too. If he was in need and something was going on and he contacted me, it doesn't matter what he think the name is or whatever. I'll be like, listen, I got it. What's going on? Because it's going to come a time where we'll probably, and it's probably almost an absolute. At the end of this, we'll need each other. Okay. So,
yes, sir. And that's really what kind of had put the spirit on me to call in to say, like, I got the revelation with talking to my brothers who were in those other different organizations, and we was like, man, what if we all was like together? Nobody could stop us.
But hey brother, I know you feeling good, but guess what? You got to have that feeling when Christ come back. Because when Christ come back, no one will stop us. If they had us all together at once, all together, that's what the enemy would be waiting for. We were once together, all together in Jerusalem. And see, that's what they want. See, but the way the Christ has it, the way it's worked, they can't get a bead on it. Because the Holy Spirit is moving in all places. See, you have to see the work of the Most High and how Christ is moving here, brother. And understand that Christ is doing something. And when it tell you in Genesis 49, unto him the gathering of the nations shall be. So what you're feeling good about can only happen when he returns. Got it?
Yes, sir. Thank you for that. Thank you. I appreciate that.
But brother,
one day we will see Zion.
And you know what? I would love to one day sit in the wilderness and knock stories off each other when we're all together there talking about the different ways the Most High was moving the ministry to allow us all to sit down as a nation unified under him. What a great conversation. Mm-hmm. But the conversation cannot be had publicly. Got it?
Yes, sir.
My brother.
The water.
Ayenda bar. Bino, 216 area code.
Shalom. This is Bino from Cleveland, Ohio.
Bino, what's going on? Bino, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly.
Yeah, Bino.
Okay, the floor is yours.
I have a comment and I have a question. First, my comment is everything is on point that you said in this lesson. And I feel like no matter what congregation or, church or whatever you may be in, if you from Israel, if you're a part of Israel, we all need to come together,
Okay, hey Beno, Beno, hold up, stop for a second. Now, what's wrong with what you're saying? What part of what you're saying is wrong?
I'm not sure.
Would you like me to share the part of what you're saying is wrong?
Yes, go ahead.
How you feel. You don't need to be confirmed with how you feel when the words are written. Christ made it clear, not based on feelings, how a church must be established and what one must come into to be approved through his work. So that's the issue I have there with, because everyone has a feeling. Suppose every individual felt differently. How could we come together?
Yeah, I didn't mean it exactly in that way. I was saying as far as like, what I was trying to say is I feel like the word should be done in a way, if you say you from Israel, no matter what, you might be a part of, like we all need to come together. That's what the word.
Hey, brother, what church are you? Brother, what church are you a part of?
Currently, I'm not a part of a church. I do watch you guys' videos, but I haven't been baptized.
Okay.
I've reached out and talked to someone, but no one haven't called.
Okay, so are you attempting to be a part of the church?
Yes, I am.
Okay, good. Because one thing that's going to be fixed, and it's going to be fixed immediately, especially with men. Okay, no, all due respect to you, it's not what we feel, it's what's written. You got to believe on Christ as the scripture have said. We don't run our truth through emotions. Truth is truth. The Bible tells us that if we forsake the assembling, you want me to read it real quick for you? Let me get it, because I don't want to misquote it in Hebrews. Right? Let's get it. Because there's a lot of people who think that just being Israel and reading the word is going to be good enough with them alone. No, they're going to be destroyed. Okay? The Bible says, let us consider one another in Hebrews 10 and 24 to provoke unto love and to good works, not forsaking and assembling ourselves together as the manner of some is, but exhorting one another, and so much the more as ye see the day approaching. That means the closer we get to Christ's returning, we should be assembling and gathering together under one doctrine. Even more. Not no lone wolf running around saying I'm Israel with the Bible. That person is going to be destroyed. If anyone could have did it alone, Christ could have and would have. But he showed an example of organization. Now, what is the punishment for that? 26. For if we sin willfully, what is the sin? Saying that we don't have to come together. That I'm an Israelite and I'm with a Bible, so that's all we need. No, that's a sin. Christ didn't set that up. Christ set up an established organization, a church, which is his government he's coming back for. For if we sin willfully after that we have received the knowledge of the truth, there remaineth no more sacrifice for sins, but a certain fearful looking for of judgment and fiery indignation, which shall devour the adversaries. Now, what happens is you'll find a bunch of rogue people who don't even know obedience, and they'll come together under the spirit of what? Under the spirit of total nonsense. Because they didn't want any level of order or obedience to learn how to articulate their ministry. They'll do what? They'll despise dominion, like it tell you in the scriptures, and they'll find each other. And what I find with people like that, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about people like that, faith, whatever they call themselves, God, family, whatever that stuff is. What they'll do is, because they haven't learned any obedience under a structure, they'll eventually have that venom they had against others and turn on each other with it. Because at the end of the day, when people come together, it must be a structure set up with leadership according to an established church. Or it comes to nothing. Last word.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. That's what I was trying to get to. What I was saying as far as what I was thinking was, how it's different, camps or churches out here, and they all have, they different, opinions or doctrines. I was saying, like, we all need to, come together as one, as it says in the word. That's what we should do. And we have to, to get under the laws of God.
What each individual needs to do is to wait on his ministry and work under a teacher to make his election sure. Okay? The example of what one must do, the example was shown by who, brother? Christ, right? And he invested his time for a church in who? The disciples, right?
Yes.
So that was the example of what we do once converted. once we understand we're Israel, we fall in line with that. Simple, isn't it? We're not all over the place getting one thing from here and one thing from there, and now I'm being torn apart, totally confused with no foundation. That's when the Bible says that's one tossed to and fro in different winds of doctrine. And here it is, with ever learning and never come to the knowledge of the truth. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It doesn't come down to how many scriptures you know. At the end of the day, it comes down to what? The spirit of obedience, which worketh patience. If you're all over the place, that's disobedient. You have no foundation. And then you'll learn all this and think you know something. And guess what? You're not good at anything. You're all over the place. See, but that obedience, that's why the Bible says stay at the steps of a wise man and learn. I've never seen a martial artist. Today he's taking judo, and tomorrow he's taking taekwondo. Okay, and then a judo, taekwondo. Okay, let me do crane style the next day. Nah, you stay under one teacher and you perfect your ministry. And that's what's wrong with the internet right now. Because people can click, they think the truth comes with just obtaining information. It doesn't. It comes with obedience. Thank you, brother. And I'm only speaking from experience. Huh?
I said someone could give me a call. I would like to try to get into the church.
Where are you?
In my area.
Where are you?
In Cleveland, Ohio.
Oh yeah, we have a church there. Just stay on hold. Elder Rawchaa will grab your number, okay? And you'll have a call no later than Friday.
Okay, appreciate it. Shalom.
Shalom. NASA has a comment. 786.
Shalom and double honor to the elders. It's NASA.
NASA. I'm sorry. How are you? NASA. How are you?
Just going off the topic here, where it says the manipulation of blacks in America.
Yeah.
It's like when you look at that, it's like I'm gonna start before I get into my comment. Basically, I have a comment. So with Isaiah 5:20 says that good is turned to evil. So that takes me over to where I'm going to go with my comments for Acts 13:1-4. It says, now there were in the church that was at Antioch certain prophets and the teachers as Barnabas and Simon, that was called Niger, and Lucius and Cypher and Manon, which had been brought up with Herod and Tetrarch and Saul. So I said that to say this right here, is that suggestive programming with the whole manipulation thing. With, for instance, you got the word Niger in there. Now you would say the word Niger, and somebody would say they would just say, basically try to go say that the word is something different than what it is, and that's just through suggestive programming. Like basically, there's a G there, there's not a J there. So when you say that word to somebody, they say, "Oh no, it's Niger." And so with that being said, that just comes with the whole manipulation part of, how we've been taught, just like the young man was saying earlier, he was saying camp, this, camp, that, it's the church, it's not the camp. But again, like I said, for example, with the word Niger, we've been taught that the word is, they try to make it soft. Oh no, it's Niger. They want you to change it and no, say exactly say the word exactly how it is. So basically, most people want you to turn a blind eye to that and say, "Oh no, that's not what it says." Basically, wanting you to bow down to stupidity, saying that it's something different. But also,
okay, now why that word Niger in particular? Why did you bring that up?
The reason why I brought that up because just with things being manipulated, And
no, I'm saying because I'm trying to get the short answer, and the reason why I'm trying to get the short answer is because are you saying that based on the connotation that I was speaking about earlier, how we began to use a word that was connected to suffering, or are you talking about something else?
Right.
So this is what I'm saying, because I understand what you're saying, but there's no way with Acts the 13th chapter are we going to turn the word nigger around. Just because we know in the Bible it said niger, which means black. We can't separate that word from a byword that was used in America at the same time they was hanging our people and then say, well, it's good because Acts 13 says that. Because it's listen, I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to the audience because I'm trying to teach at this moment on your point.
Got it.
Because no, we're not going to do that. What we're going to do is we're going to understand the value of image. Because the majority of people we run into who will use that word don't know anything about the Bible and definitely don't know about Acts 13 where the disciples were called nigger.
Right.
So if I'm going to condescend to the lowest level to save a few, I have to deal with people on the level they understand. And I can't change the world by saying, well, listen, because of this word in Acts 13th chapter, that changes all of what happened in slavery with that word. And we are now to look at that word like the Bible says, view it. Nah. You know what we'll be teaching from now until 2090, trying to get people minds changed that were already programmed to realize that that word is connected to our oppression. Okay.
Good.
Now in private conversations with learned people, then we can have those higher conversations. But when you're seeking to raise the children of Israel out of the dust, you have to deal with them on the level their mind is at that time. Right? And you know what? Sometimes we're guilty of that. We're guilty after learning, thinking that everyone sees things as we do. Nah. You have to be able to bring yourself back to that original place knowing nothing and understand that's where your people are. All right? So I'm just dropping that out there. But, all right, go ahead. You have the last word.
No, I mean, you absolutely, you brought that right to where it needs to be at, to where I was wanting to articulate it. But again, it just goes back to how our people just been, manipulated to think a certain type of way and are not able to articulate as well as, like the sister put earlier, saying that, it may be, is looked upon as we're speaking what they call quote unquote white, but not, knowing the history of our people as far as, King James as well, that our people, basically had that upbringing from the get-go. So, it just, again, it just looked at as, being able to articulate and saying what you actually want to say versus, just saying what you've been taught or just what you've done, what you've been seeing, basically how your upbringing was. So, yeah, but you brought it right back around. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Speaking of that, someone talking about a hillbilly, right? I was in Philadelphia last year during a time when people are still scared about the bug that everyone be talking about. That now they're not saying much because maybe the majority of people fell for it. And there was a guy, you could tell he was one of these, hillbilly type of redneck type of guys. And he thought he was going to offend me talking about Trump. Right? Oh, yeah, Trump, yeah, da-da-da-da-da. And he had that make America great again type of thing. And I could tell he was trying to jibe me he was trying to get under my skin and believing that because I'm black, that my political views must be, I would say dimmer nuts. All right? Because you got Republican nuts and you got dimmer nuts, right? So, because, you know, and I could tell that he was really trying to get under my skin. I'm like, you know what? And I said straight out. It was during the time where they was going with Black Lives Matter and all that stuff was going on. And I said, well, listen, straight up. Biden doesn't represent my people. And I said it just like that. I said, Biden do not represent my people. And you should have seen him stuck. It was like he seen a ghost. Like, It's like he couldn't register being a program bot politically by this world. I was supposed to take a stand and say, no, Trump is a racist. I was supposed to be some wind up nut job like these people who are politically charged every 4 years. And I said, Biden do not represent my people. Oh, you believe in Trump? I'm like, Trump doesn't represent my people. Who's your people? Who's your people? I said, Israel. I said, Israel is my people. It looked like his head was about to bust.
Right.
The guy turned beet red because why? The views of the word is above this world. They don't even know how to articulate. Right. They don't even know how to come back to when your conversations is in the heavens. And I don't know what he was thinking about, but I'll tell you till this day, he'll probably reflect back to this black guy he's seen that was weird as he don't know what, who said something he've never heard before from a black person.
Right.
And I have a lot of moments like this. Sometimes we probably have a camera sometime follow me when I get into some of these things, but this guy thought I can tell he was trying to instigate me, brother, into a political joust about between who's better between Biden and Trump. And at the end of the day, guess what? The Bible is my constitution. Christ is our king. Thank you, brother. All right. Bless you. All right. Let's go 941 area code.
Hello.
Hey, how are you doing, Natasha? I see you, sunshine. I'll get you too. How you doing, Natasha?
I'm good. How are you, Elder? I hope it's all is well with you.
I'm doing well. I'm glad you followed us on G.O.C.C. Media. You followed us over here. Thank you.
Yes, I have you guys already subscribed everywhere. I got a question and I have a comment. I think we are definitely being took advantage of, and especially I want to say more with our children. Being that I work in the school system, I don't want to say school or anything, but there was a couple years back where my children was going to a school, and when it comes to our school, especially in the poor areas and whatnot, they call it a Title I. And, you know, before then, I didn't know what a Title I was. I was like, okay, that's a good school, this and that. Well, come to find out, the Title I schools are where all the blacks and the poor live on that side.
Okay.
We had, and I noticed when I used to go in the library, you know, whatever the case may, they had these readers that came in, and they was called rocket readers. And rocket readers was these old white men, old white women, and a lot of these white women walking around the library, and I couldn't never understand why are they there with our children. And it just didn't feel right. They would come read to our kids, especially the boys and everything like that. And when you look at other schools, because I done been to other schools, I done had high school, middle school, elementary, and they don't have these at those other schools, the nice schools, the white schools, but it was always in our area. So I asked, I said, why do we have these rocket readers at our school, you know, with our children? Well, they just, you know, here to help us, you know, get the reading up, and, you know, they want to see it. And it really just didn't feel right with me. It didn't feel right.
So what did you find out about them?
Well, what I found out about them, one, they keep the women that was coming there, they always had these, like, I think, tablets and computers, and they kept up with who can read, who couldn't read. you know, and I was like, well, dang, I thought the school was supposed to be doing that. But it was them, they was keeping up with who can read, who's on top, you know. So that, and then I remember a long time ago, you were saying that how they keep tabs on us. So I was like, okay, they're sending them in our school to keep tabs on us. And it was so funny because for a lot of people that can't see, they don't understand. They think that they're helping us. But for people that can see, they're not. They're ruining us. And I just really, and it's all over. And, you know, and it's with our children, you know, manipulating them, you know, having people come around them when, you know, and a lot of these parents, they know, but they don't know. They feel like their child is being helped, and it's not. And I just always found a problem with that. When you go to the other schools, you don't have that. But for some reason, in the poor black schools, you have these people coming and they're reading to our children, you know, elementary, the little kids, and around our children. But there's no, I didn't get that. I didn't understand. It didn't feel right.
Let me ask you this question, because this is weird. This is weird to me, right? Because when I was growing up, I had wood shop. We had home economics, especially with the sisters girls growing up cooking. Like we learned trades that would transfer into life. I remember having tutors, right? So when I was growing up, a matter of fact, Duckery was one of the award-winning elementary schools, 15th and Diamond, in all of Philadelphia. Duckery was considered one of the higher schools of academia for, from elementary on up, right? What happened? What's wrong with our community that our people cannot teach our own children in groups how to read? Because that was had when I was growing up, and sometimes the teachers, you have crushes on your elementary teacher and all that. I wanted to stay back and give me some more reading or whatever the case is, right? But the whole thing is, there was more of a care in the community to make sure that the children could read and write. That wasn't an outsourced thing where other people from other races and other areas have to come in and take tabs on their children being able to read and write. I mean, am I missing something? Why didn't we come together as a people on the block and say, you know what? There's nothing to have an after school program where children can come in amongst familiar people on the block and learn how to read.
Yeah.
Is that a new idea? Is that a new idea? Am I speaking something foreign here? But go on.
You have, and that's the thing about it. You have, there are programs out there that truly, when they come to our people, that want to teach them and whatnot. But I'm gonna tell you this, and I'm gonna just say it with love, and don't know how to take it personal or whatnot. It's our people that that turned against their own. I don't know if I'm saying it right. Meaning, where you have someone, where I've had where you have someone that's actually doing for their own, and your own don't like it. They don't like it. It's just you.
So what you're saying in a nutshell, they would prefer other races doing it for our children. Exactly. And they'll look down if you went the extra mile to look out for children, your own would come against you.
Yes.
And sister, you know how we need to fix this? Immediately, the only way to fix schools is to start from the beginning and make sure that the majority of teachers are men.
Yeah. And I said that I've noticed that where we have there's a lot of women teachers that's teaching, and the few men that we do get in there, the kids go to listening to them, but then it's like you don't see them anymore. It's like they're not around anymore. They're mixing them in. Well, we can't have too many over here, so let's just put some over here. It's not, and I feel the schools are very segregated. You know?
Okay. Well, I'm going down a diatribe of schools real quick. So, sister, I'm going to take your number down because I want to talk with you, and we're going to have a discussion on this because I believe this will make a great program for GOCC Media. So, make sure you write down a number for me so that we can call it because I need to talk about this. Okay, because schools have become nothing but a cat fight, a bunch of cat fights, women jockeying for position, and through it had become everything else but giving the children the attention they need. And on top of that, others are coming in and harming our children in the wake of these ridiculous cat fights.
You know, Elder, it's bad.
Yeah, I know. I'm with you.
It's nothing being said about it.
Well, it's just the crisis coming back. He's going to level it. So we'll talk with you soon. Thank you. All right. Great points. 678 area code Margaret, Darlene, and then Sunshine. I got you. They've been manipulating our people. Talk to me, Darby.
Hey, I'm so happy to talk to you, Elder.
Hold up. I'm sorry, elders, Elder Gabar and Elder Lawya. I know you're listening, but my Skype is actually rotating still on the screen and will not allow me in on the other computer. That's why I have to do it with this computer. So I'm sorry I couldn't bring you back in. The Skype demon has jumped out again. So the only way to fix that would have been for me to shut down the computer, and I'm going to do that and stop the program. So sorry about that. I'll bring y'all in the next time. 678 area code, and I thank you, elders, for your participation. We're past the time anyway. All your points was poignant, and this has been a great show for our premier GOCC media broadcast. All right, brother. The floor is yours, Darby.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Awesome. I wanted to make sure that you can hear me. First of all, I want to say double honor to you and the rest of the elders. I love what you guys are doing. I mean, I'll start with this. I know my area code is 678, but I'm out here in Texas. I'm from Tennessee, and I know some of your followers are too. I'll be very brief. I wanted to make a comment and ask a question. Part of my question is I grew up as I'm 27 now, but I grew up as a Jehovah's Witness. And I would say for about 21 years, I just grew up as a Jehovah's Witness. And I know you made a comment about their teachings about 2 weeks ago. Now, you said, well, at least they do discipline some of their followers. So I grew up in kind of a strict household where I'm used to being disciplined spiritually to make sure I don't stray too far off the path. But I would say when I woke up to being an Israelite was around the time at the beginning of the early 2020. And just seeing how people I used to congregate with were just so lost and didn't know. I mean, you used to abstain from blood. You don't understand what's going on with the situation here. And just people just living in a state of ignorance. It kind of bothered me. And so around the time, like I mentioned, I was waking up to the truth. I discovered you all. I discovered a few other, camps and congregations, and other camps and congregations weren't as friendly and as put together and as knowledgeable from what I've experienced in this short time as you all, and it kind of sent me into a state of confusion. And I didn't want to follow the wrong doctrine. I didn't want to be misled. I have my third child on the way. I adopted one, and I've been a father since I was 17. So I have 3 children, and I don't want to teach them wrong, brother. That's partially what it is.
So what's the question?
For the 5th. Okay. So my question would be, what God do you feel? I mean, do you know that the Jehovah's Witnesses serve? Because when you see,
let me answer that question. Let me answer that question.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Because see, I have to be careful how I answer this because I understand that there's people, there's honest, and
I get that.
Listen to me. There's honest and forthcoming people that are in every organization who are there for the right reasons.
Yes, sir.
So I'm careful not to say something to offend just everyday Christians or Jehovah's Witnesses, because they'll hold it personally as if I'm speaking against them, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I ran into that with my family too.
Okay. So listen to this. With them to the side, the Jehovah's Witnesses, the head of the head of the Jehovah's Witnesses organization are Satanists.
Okay.
They're worshiping Satan.
And I know you're not speaking about the average day, and because they're just followers of a really large organization.
The who?
But I'm following you. I didn't mean to interrupt. I said I know you're not speaking about the average day worshipers. Yeah, I know you're speaking about the people higher up. So I'm
The hierarchy. Don't forget, the only reason they created the Jehovah's Witnesses was to eventually target our people and confuse them even more. Okay.
I felt that confusion.
Yeah, the original Jehovah's Witnesses were under Charles Taze Russell as Russellites. At that time, it was against their mission to actually go to black people and teach them. But when they realized that 80 to 90% of those who went to the church, or there was no more devoted people going to church than our people, they began to swing to change a lot of their missions for the sake of targeting our people, confusing them, and to make money off of our people. Jehovah's Witnesses at the helm are Satanists. Charles Taze Russell was a 33-degree Mason, Satanist. A pyramid is over his grave right now. A matter of fact, I'm going to pull up online real quick so that everyone can see this, so that you can't think I'm making this up. Charles Taze Russell's.
Yeah.
I'm going to show it for the people, though, all right? Because I don't want them to think that I'm personally smearing someone. Charles Taze Russell, the demon, Charles Taze Russell, grave. And see, they purposely, listen to me, I'm going to let you speak, brother.
Yes, sir.
He purposely, that organization purposely deceived people. Purposely. Here you go. Let me pull it up. Hold on. Let me get it. Hold on. Somebody so you can't think I'm making this up. Come on. Man, I ain't never seen my computer act out like this. But, I can understand I'm pulling up one of their devils. This coming Friday, for Patreon, I'm going to be going into Abraham Lincoln's racist comments. Because a lot of our people believe that he was a guy, that Abraham Lincoln was for black people. So I'm going to be dealing with that to show you all of Abraham Lincoln's racist comments. He was the worst of people. All right? He was a demon. Now, I know you're saying, but man, Elder, you talking about the Charles Taze Russell, Abraham Lincoln was a Satanist? Who can we trust? Christ. That's who. Every leader that we uphold in America was given to us. Hold on. Let me
also.
Hold. Let me show it. Let me show you. You know what?
Mm-hmm.
There go Charles Taze Russell's grave. So he's living with his fathers right now. His fathers are bound in hell. The fallen angels he worshiped. Okay? So anything else you like to say about there you go. 33-degree Mason, Satanist, who came up with it. As a matter of fact, if it was up to Charles Taze Russell, he said Christ would be back by what? What? It's supposed to be 1894. He said Christ was going to be back. And
it was a lot of false.
And it didn't happen. And then when it didn't happen, the Russellites claimed, well, he did come. He came in spirit. And now he's ruling from the throne. And the only one know about it is the warlock called Charles Taze Russell. And, yeah. See, that's what happens when you listen to Edomites concerning prophecy. What you got next?
You know, in waking up to the truth, I want to serve, you know, God's kingdom, especially until the remaining prophecies are fulfilled. I just wanted to make one quick comment.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned, I'm 27 years old. I work for the 5th largest bank in the world. We make over $500 million a day. Using that connections, I live in Dallas. I'm a part of a under 30 philanthropy program, and they're teaching us how to pretty much use other people's money, millionaires, investors, things like that, and build and put in systems that change the future by the definition of philanthropy. So I'm seeing a lot of things, and I want to use how I navigate through this system. I mean, even to be a part of this program, I'm supposed to be jabbed, and I'm not. My job wanted to jab.
Well, brother, I think,
Texas,
listen, brother, you're putting out a lot of information, and I'm sure you're not disguising your voice. So let me help you out real quick. This is private information that must be talked about privately. Okay. So I'm gonna have Elder Rawchaa take down your number, and we'll do it because I want you to keep your position with the job to help maneuver. I don't want you to tell people whether or not you made a decision on the jab. Christ says, "I send you out as sheep." Huh?
Texas passed a bill that you cannot require a vaccination. So I feel like that was God protecting me in maneuvering through this world. And I'll just close with this. What I want to use all of my skill set to help what the Gathering in Christ Church is doing. So
oh man, thank you.
I am in Dallas. And I promise, brother, like if you all have any programs that you want to present, I am meeting people that are listening to me and want to fund projects. So I want to use this period in time and not dance and use TikTok. I really want to make a mark like our forefathers and our ancestors before us, because I don't really feel like people understand that we are living through a historical time, and what will our children have to say about us if we don't use our voices, our platforms. So I really appreciate what you guys are doing, and if I can help through God strengthening me, what you're doing, I really want to be a part of that.
Well, brother, listen. No, I hear your excitement, and I'm excited that you're on the phone. It's the Most High brought us together, and Elder Rawchaa, I need you to take this man's number and call him tonight. Let's do it.
Thank you.
My brother from my brother from another mother, Sarah. All right. Sarah, what happened to you and I? 404. I got one more call. Oh no, I can't do that. Sound like you're under a rig. You're under a four-wheeler. I'm sorry, can't do it. All right, 757 area code. Oh no. Well, here we go. She been waiting for 56 minutes and 50 seconds. I'm sure she has a bullet point, everything written down. And she has 2 minutes to spill the beans. Ladies and gentlemen, Sunshine.
Hi, Shalom. Hi, Elder. Hello?
What's going on?
Hello?
What's happening?
Hi, Shalom.
I'm finished and I'm done.
I got kicked out and then I got back in. Elders. Oh, well, first of all, it was really funny looking at some of the black exploitation videos and cartoons, but I just wanted to say
I just wanted to say the trick is set for us all. Satan deceived the whole world. They set up the women to experience the coddling from all of these social programs, like you were mentioning, and used us to attack and go against and discard our own black men who were meant to be our protectors, teachers, and true rulers to guide us and keep us safe. Then once the dependency of the women on everything that is the system became impossible for us to be released from, since the men were now out of the picture, these same women used against our own men are now turned on and attacked by those who set them up. Without a king, we are defenseless as women, and we can't hold on to anything the nations do not want us to keep, without our men. So they use us as, like you were talking about, booty against booty, property against property, in any which way they would choose. In many ways, they brutally and despitefully use us. In other ways, they use us as lackeys to oppress our own people with temporary benefits that really is like a mind game and illusion, because they take the same lackeys and dispose of them later after they're no longer usable towards our destruction as a nation. And they see us all, according to what Hillary Clinton said, as that tribal, religious, ethnic, racial people, and believe that we are all expendable, that our lives are only worth what the pagan Christians, Mormons, Muslims, Hindus, the happy Babylonians believe that it's worth, because they're all really of the same web of lies that's spun against our people to keep us in bonds. And this is why there's the same unchanged attitudes across time and racial lines towards the children of Israel, and especially the children of Judah, the seed from which Christ came. So East Indians look down upon the darkest of our people, the Arabs and Asians see us as slaves, and the Amalekites continue the same programs from the days of Moses to destroy the weakest of us. So the Psalms 83 conspiracy that Elder Lawya read is clearly seen now for those that can see, but the solutions are coming forward, like a lot of people were talking about, for what we can do one Israelite at a time as we occupy the unbalanced world for a time. Number one, we can see, we can start, like you said, to follow the Most High's laws, and then we can read more, especially when it comes to our legal rights, so that no amount of media propaganda can shake us out of common sense into what we are now witnessing in this 2020 campaign is utter nonsense. And we need to think on, like, what people have been talking about, the gifts the Most High has bestowed upon all of us within our individual tribes and homes as Israel, the apple of his eye, and pray for guidance to tap into some of that creativity that we always have and have used for the centuries to build these nations and these kingdoms around the earth. And we have all the blessed...
You're running out of time. You're running out of time.
Okay. And within us, like you said, the kingdom is within us. And I just wanted to say, Elder, that the example of this church is the embodiment of what we as Israel can become and continue to grow to become. And being on one accord in Christ's body, and knowing that we have many gifts that are all usable, appreciated, and not expendable, is the chance we need to empowerment and stand bold in righteousness without fear. Like Elder Gabar was saying, that puts us in our own way. We are now, through this church and through Christ, see how we can be strong and of good courage, knowing nothing and no one stands in our way, and that the Most High has always been with us. All things is due to the Most High. And that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you.
That's all I wanted to say.
Bless you. Bless you. And I have to let her go through the dissertation, because obviously the sister takes copious notes. I mean, she writes all this down, folks. I'll tell you. So, all right. Great work. Great work. All right. Last call, Margaret.
Shalom.
Yes, Margaret. What's the noise? What's the noise, Margaret?
Shalom. I'm actually working right now. I'm on a phone shift. I'm gonna make it real quick.
All right.
The main thing that's been manipulated in the black community, I would say, is morals and pride. They've taken
Margaret?
Growing up, of course, the Southern... Yes.
Yeah, you went blank. You want to start over?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. No, I was saying, as far as the manipulation, the thing that has been manipulated is our morals and our pride. I'm only 28, and I remember growing up in a Southern Baptist church, and it was certain things that were very simple, you know, coming up as a child, as far as wearing a slip or wearing a dress or, you know, just being covered, period. The mothers in the church all having safety pins to where if your cleavage was showing, you know, or if you were showing too much, you might not have been showing anything, but it wasn't good enough for them, so here's a body pin, you know.
Yeah.
But that has been completely taken away to where people are trying to come back and find some type of compass. That's why you have people going crazy in this conscious community where women are running around. Pretty much it's like a free spirit movement all over again, except for now it's like, you know, we're the hippies.
Great point. Great
and
point.
As far as the pride, like you touched on earlier, pride has been turned to just simply LGBT. Like there's nothing to take pride in unless it's the rainbow, as far as, you know, that aspect. Therefore, we're no longer taking pride in our communities. We're no longer taking pride in ourselves. We're no longer taking pride, just period. It's been taken away with our morals. So that's pretty much all I wanted to say on that. And also, I've been following you all for since 2019, and I would like to get baptized. I'm in Atlanta.
Okay.
Right now, I'm working crazy hours to do the purpose that I feel like the Most High set me here for, which is building and finding refuge for His people.
Okay.
So, not to say I don't have time, because I have time for Him. It's not anything.
Okay.
But it's tunnel vision for me, you know, especially at this detrimental time that we're in.
Okay, well, this is what I'll do. Elder Rawchaa, I need you to text her number to Baruch in Atlanta so that we can get her into the congregation as soon as possible. So you should.
Okay, I would like that.
Okay, Margaret. So you should have a call no later than Friday. Welcome to the body of Christ. All right.
Thank you, and shalom, and thank you for what you and the other elders do.
Shalom, and thank you for joining us on G.O.C.C. Media. And I hope that you are a part of the Hebrew and Bible Academy. It will be I see those bombs up there. I see Hayim and Yasha Allah with those bombs. Yeah, that's right. The Academy is going to be up to change.
I wish, but not yet. I would love to be baptized in the body as well. So
okay, yeah.
If I could get a call.
No problem. Just, hey, we're going to get a call. We got your number, Margaret. Make sure you write that down, Elder Rawchaa. And like I said, you're going to get a call by Friday to be a part of the body, but make sure you're in that academy because there's some stuff we're going to be dropping that cannot be dropped on YouTube, okay?
Hi, and shalom.
Shalom. Be careful out there. All right.
Will do.
Bless you. Well, that concludes our broadcast for this evening. Thank you all. And again, we are taking enrollments for the
Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
We are now taking enrollments for the Hebrew and Bible Academy. Go to historytimes.org. Brand new lessons that have never been taught that I haven't seen online. We're going to be going into a few things. Aliens, what they claim is aliens. No, what they call aliens are the true controllers of Earth. All of that and more will be in the next Hebrew and Bible Academy. But till Friday on Patreon, stay prayed up, sin not. We will soon see Zion and, of course, the Most High is calling back Israel. Let's go. Support the work. $GOCC 144 donates.
The East is where we're from. The 12 tribes of Israel. In 721 BC, the Assyrian king, he took us down, we fell. With the great escape we went through the Euphrates. The Lord held the water still. To a land where no mankind dwelt, we went. The 12 tribes of Israel. That's who we be.
Manasseh, the Cubans, Ephraim from Puerto Rico, Nepali from the Isles of Hawaii.
The Lord is calling back Israel.
Zebulon from Panama, Gad, the North American Indians, Simeon